that one forward. Finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Bodwin! Welcome to Erie Insurance Arena in Erie, Pennsylvania. I'm your host, Mike Poirier, joined alongside Josh McCann. We got a bit of a spotlight behind us, but we made the trek across the border. We had an interesting moment at the border where they were training, so we were able to help them out with their duties at the border. But other than that, it's great to be on the road visiting the Erie Otters, a team that the Barrie Colts have played once already. That was a 4-2 final back at the Saddlein Arena, and these two teams quickly being reacquainted again.
Yeah, and that was one of the Barrie Colts' best efforts of the season so far, and it was right at the start of the point streak they're on right now. They had a couple of wins against Kitchener and Brantford, and then they played the Erie Otters, and first two periods looked pretty solid, but then they really took off in the third period. 20 shots on goal. I think the shots at one point were like 18-1 for the Colts. The Otters brought it on as the period went on. Shots ended up about 20-9, but it was one of the Colts' better games of the season.
And that was also the first game after the Erie Otters and Owen Sound Attack completed a trade. So Michael Deck came over to the Erie Otters. And right now, Michael Deck leading this team in scoring seems to be fitting quite nicely with this Erie team that's still trying to get out of the basement in the Western Conference.
Yeah, two teams from the West making a trade there to try and fix their needs. Owen Sound needed some more physicality, so they go out, they add Wesley Royston, and now they're looking back and thinking, well, now half our offense is injured and we need scoring, like Michael Deck has brought. And Michael Deck's only played 7 games for the Otters so far, but he's already 5th in their points with 8 points in 7 games. And then, of course, he leads them overall when you add his Owen Sound games.
Yeah, 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points for Michael Deck, which is something the Erie Otters were needing. They were needing more goal scoring. That's why they acquired him. But a team that seems to be firing on all cylinders, the Barrie Colts. We saw them up in Sudbury Wednesday night. That was a 5-2 final. Getting the depth scoring, that was key for this Colts team. We saw both Cole Emerton and Justin Hanser getting their first career OHL goals. And this is a team that we know up front they've got the talent. But when you get that depth scoring, that can go a long way.
Yeah, that was big for the Barrie Colts the other night. They don't really win without it. I mean, the third period looked pretty ugly until Cole Emerton got that goal. The Wolves were dominating the period. They tied the game, and then they take a penalty, and the Colts power play is able to go to work, and Cole Emerton with a big goal, and then the Colts could add it on. Calvin Crombie made it 4-2, and then Jonah McCormick getting a goal there in the final seconds of the game. I know Dylan Smoskowitz has mentioned that they weren't really happy with the performance, but that's something that good teams do. They take games that they didn't deserve to win, and they go and win them.
And I know in the chat on Wednesday night up in Sudbury, the question was, why didn't they play Arvin Jaswal against the Sudbury Wolves? Well, he was coming back from injury, and we figured, okay, it's a back-to-back weekend here in Erie tonight, Niagara tomorrow, and we figured Jaswal would get the start here. And in fact, it's going to be Arvin Jaswal.
Well, it just proves that when we predict stuff, you should listen to us. Yeah.
We're right once in a while.
Every once in a while. Jaswal, his first start in almost a month. October 28th was the last time he was on the ice for the Barrie Colts, picked up a big victory over the Sarnia Sting, and he was fantastic in that game. I mean, the Barrie Colts, they didn't get off to a great start. I thought their third period in that game was really good. But in the second period, the Colts found themselves down by a goal. They took a penalty that it ended up being a penalty shot awarded to Sarnia, and Arvin Jaswal made a huge save there. And I talked to Kayshawn Aitchison after that game. He told me we don't win without Arvin Jaswal in net.
Now, it's not just Jaswal that's being added to the lineup tonight. Bodie Stewart, he makes his return. He was a scratch Wednesday in Sudbury. Also, Eamon Edgar, he is back in the lineup. So no Jonah McCormick here tonight. But, it's getting Bodie Stewart back. He's kind of picked up his game from what we saw at the start of the regular season. He's now added a few goals and adds a little more depth up front with him back in the lineup.
Yeah, he's been playing really strong alongside Brad Gardner and Calvin Crombie on that second line. And we kind of wondered where guys would be placed when Emil Hemming returned, and that's when Dylan Smoskowitz decided to put this trio together, and they're back together again tonight. So Carter Lowe moves down to the fourth line with Jaden Newton and Eamon Edgar.
And you had somebody message you before the game commenting about Emil Hemming and how we haven't talked about his new haircut. He just got the buzz cut, and I'm wondering if that's making him a little more aerodynamic, because we're seeing him out there with Cole Bodwin contributing up front, and it's not really surprising, the Dallas Stars prospect doing what he does, but someone pointing out the fact that he got a new look, and He seems to be embracing it.
It's the buzz cut of success for the Barrie Colts and Emil Hemming. I mean, another great game the other night against Sudbury on Wednesday. Nice one-timer right out front of the net off a nice pass from behind the net by Cole Vaudouin. And they've had William Schneid on their line as of late. And Schneid, just like Salandra, has looked like a pretty solid add to that line. So if the Barrie Colts can continue to kind of work things around with Cole Vaudouin and Emil Hemming, just put another winger beside them and kind of get a hot streak out of them and maybe add to your depth as the year goes on.
And you mentioned Joe Salandra. You caught up with him pregame, so we're going to have that interview coming up in the first intermission as Joe Salandra and a lot of the American players, I think, are a little excited to be back here in the United States. They traveled here yesterday, so they had an on-ice session here today. So, getting comfortable with this being in the middle of the road trip. And I'm sure for Salandra and company, pretty excited to be here in Erie tonight.
Yeah, it should be fun for them. I mean, this isn't something we see really until this year. I mean, yeah, there'd be Americans in the CHL, but it wasn't often you get like 5, 6 Americans on the same team. Now every team probably has a few Americans that make these road trips even more fun for them. And I'm sure Salandra and Desiderio and William Schneider are very excited to be here in Erie. And then they have Saginaw and Flint in a couple of months in January.
So you can look forward to that. First intermission, we will have Josh's interview with Joe Salandra. But in the meantime, we had a chance to catch up with Dylan Smoskowitz, the head coach of the Barrie Colts in the Coach's Corner, presented by Mariposa School of Skating. Catching up with Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz. Dylan, a bit of a road trip here. You guys coming down from Sudbury, and you got an off day yesterday. Boys weren't back on the ice until today. How important was it to take it a little easy after that win in Sudbury, just to get the legs ready for tonight?
You just want to be careful with your guys. They're working hard out there. They're laying it all on the line, and to 3 hours there, play a game 3 hours back, then to jump on the ice and drive 5 hours again. We just thought it was a little bit too much. With 2 games coming up back to back here, so we just used this as a travel day. Got some good food in us. Got to bed early. Had more of a practice than a morning skate today. Like really worked on some stuff that we felt was lacking in Sudbury on Wednesday night. So the guys kind of felt good getting off the ice this morning. Again, had a good little nap, had a good pregame meal at the hotel, and ready to rock tonight.
And it seemed like the game up in Sudbury took a little bit for you guys to get going. Obviously, you still got the win, but it seems like it took a little time for everyone just to get into the swing of things.
Yeah, we talked about before, it was going to be a sleepy Wednesday night, not a big crowd on the road. I didn't like our game at all. Even, you want to say we got going. I don't know if we even got going. We got some really good goaltending. That's what we got, and we got a really good power play performance. Dennis Martindale, our power play coach, had that play drawn up, and it took him 5 or 6 seconds to put in the back of the net, and that was the difference of the game. So again, we just need a better effort tonight. But the most important thing I felt like after that game was the guys were pretty down on their own efforts. And as a coach, when you start to see a group come together and understand where the standard is, and that the standard that we have set as a group is higher than what we performed on Wednesday night, as a coach, you got to like that. So I'm expecting a good answer back game tonight.
And you did get some depth scoring, which is got to be considered a positive. Emerton and Hans are getting their first career OHL goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really nice. No, it was fun afterwards to give them their first goal pucks, and I thought both those guys have been playing really good hockey for us. And as defensemen, their accolades come on the defensive side of things. Cole maybe a little bit more offensive on the power play, but I thought Justin, even when Cash and Gabe were out of our lineup, like he really stepped up, and we just loved what we saw from him in those 2 games there. So for him to get rewarded with his first, God knows it's been long enough for him. It was nice to see. And
now you're getting ready for the Erie Otters here tonight, a team you only see twice during the regular season, a Western Conference opponent. What do you have to do to get ready for a game such as this?
It's kind of nice because we just saw them in Barrie only a couple weeks ago, so it's pretty fresh in our minds. The game plan stays the same. We got some good clips from the last time we played them. But again, a team who's at home, a team who hasn't played it this week, well rested, got to watch us on Wednesday night, got to practice here while we drove on the bus for 5 hours and had to cross the border. So, the home ice advantage definitely goes to them tonight, but it'll be a good test and one that our guys are definitely up for.
So that was Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz with the Coach's Corner presented by Mariposa School of Skating. And Dylan touched on it in that interview there, how he wasn't really thrilled about the game in Sudbury. He felt like the team was kind of lacking a little bit there, so to speak. But the power play he mentioned, it only took about 5 seconds to go 1-for-1 on the man advantage against the Sudbury Wolves. And that was the difference, along with the great play of Ben Horevic. And they were able to get the 2 points. And you feed that, as you mentioned earlier, if you're going to be a good team, you have to find other ways to win. And that's exactly what the Barrie Colts did up in Sudbury.
Well, it took 53 minutes for them to get their first power play that night. All the power plays were going to Sudbury throughout the game. And then credit to Cole Beaudoin working his way through the Sudbury defense to create a holding penalty against the Wolves. And Barrie went right to work. And I know Smoskowitz mentioned it to Gene Pereira in his latest article about how teams are starting to cheat, trying to go after Aitchison, Beaudoin, and Hemming on those power plays. And that creates opportunities for Cole Emerton and Brad Gardner or Carter Lowe, whoever the other forward is, on that top unit to get a bit more open as the teams try and combat the 3 first-round draft picks. And that allowed Emerton to be wide open for that one-time shot.
So we'll see what's in store here tonight at the Erie Insurance Arena as the Colts get set to take on the Otters, the second meeting this season between these two teams. And we already see the chat is active, and we appreciate everyone tuning in already. And there's been some big news items around the Ontario Hockey League that we will touch on at the first intermission. You got the Dragosika suspension we're going to discuss, and the big news when it comes to the 2027 Memorial Cup, a bit of a shocker on that front. So we'll give our thoughts on that. But we'll see how it all plays out as the Barrie Colts get ready to take on the Erie Otters. And I already see that Tammy's asking who has to start tonight. And it's going to be Arvin Jaswal between the pipes here for the Barrie Colts as they take on the Erie Otters. And for Jaswal, you already touched on it. It's been a while since he had a start. But you need to give him those starts, especially when you have the back-to-back here between Erie and then Niagara.
Well, Barrie's going to have the opportunity to give him a few starts here as they have 3 straight weekends with back-to-backs. Friday, Saturday here, Erie, Niagara. Next Friday, Saturday, Sudbury and Kingston. I bet he'll start the Sudbury game. And then the week after that, it's Ottawa, Kingston, which I suspect he's in against the Frontenacs.
So the two teams are now taking to the ice as we get ready here between the Colts and the Otters. This one should be an intriguing matchup as the Colts already have the advantage with a 4-2 win back at home. And, this is a rested Erie Otters team, and we'll see what's in store here. As Smoskowitz mentioned, they played Wednesday night while the Erie Otters were here at home, sleeping comfortably, waiting for the Barrie Colts. So you do have that bit of a home ice advantage here if you're the Erie Otters.
Yeah, it was a far travel for the Barrie Colts as well, and probably smart on their end to head up a day early, rest, recover here in Erie. Don't have to fight off the bus legs here tonight. And for the Otters, they're coming off a tough game, a 1-0 loss to the Oshawa Generals last Sunday. So they've had a couple days off to try and regroup and try and get things going. It's a team near the bottom of the standings that's wanting to try and figure things out and get back in the playoff race.
Yeah, the Otters had a pretty difficult road trip, North Bay, Sudbury, and then wrapping it up in Oshawa with that 1-0 loss to the Generals. So the players are on the ice. We're going to get the national anthems going in just a moment. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we will have puck drop for the first period between the Barrie Colts and the Erie Otters. So we are just about ready to go for the first period of play here between the Barrie Colts and the Erie Otters. As we have a moment, let's take a look at our starting goaltenders, presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities. New homes, minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm.
Well, for the Barrie Colts on the road here tonight, it's Arvin Jaswal making his first start since October 30th against the Sarnia Sting. Jaswal 3-2-0-1 on the season with a .912 save percentage and a .297 goals against average. 33 of 35 against Sarnia back on October 30th. For the Erie Otters, it's Noah Erliden getting the start. He's 4-11 on the season with a .901 save percentage and a .355 goals against average. Stopped 38 of 39 last weekend against Oshawa, but still came home with the loss.
So it was just a bit of a delayed start here in Erie. They were doing a special ceremony for Children's Grief Awareness Night. It's a partnership really between the city of Erie and Barrie, which is a kind of a nice touch between the two communities. And so that's why we had a little bit of a delayed start there, but still a nice touch just to have that recognition.
Yeah, it was very cool to see, especially I think the factor, I mean, Barrie and Erie partnering. I mean, two cities from not only different countries, but they're also 5 hours apart. So that was pretty nice to see.
So we'll get this game underway momentarily, and also a nice touch. That marching band here to do the national anthems. My wife, she's a music teacher, so I know she's pretty excited about hearing that there was the marching band in the stands here at the Erie Insurance Arena. So they do things a little unique down here in Erie, Pennsylvania, but it is a nice touch. And now the players warming up a little bit as they get their legs ready, and we'll get the start underway. Our referees tonight, Mike Cairns and Connor Mallon, and on the lines, Joe Kilbowich and Ray King, and we are underway. Face-off won by the Colts. Kayshawn Aitchison's going to come back behind his own net to pick it up. Aitchison setting things up here for the Barrie Colts as they're wearing their white jerseys here tonight up against the Erie Otters in their yellow thirds. Looking pretty sharp out there as that puck goes down the length of the ice, and that's going to be an early icing call here against the Colts.
Well, the Barrie Colts, since they've been on the road as of late, they keep finding themselves playing in games against teams wearing special jerseys. So they keep having to use the white jerseys, and Kayshawn Aitchison gets like no time as the captain anymore.
Well, that's just it, because they're co-captains. So Bodwin's got the C on the white sweater, and then Aitchison with the blue. So once they do that switch, we'll see the Blues at home a little more. Then I guess Aitchison will be more the captain. But face-off one in the Barrie zone as the Colts move this one forward. It's William Schneid through the neutral zone. Schneid enters the zone, but ahead of the play is Emil Hemming as Schneid made that extra move through the neutral zone.
Well, Schneid remaining on the top line with Bodwin and Hemming made a real nice play the other night. Had a couple players on him in the corner. He was able to kick the puck free to Bodwin or put it out front for Emil Hemming for the second goal of the game for Barrie Colts.
So we got the face-off outside the Otters blue line. Taking the draw here is Brad Gardner up against Callum Hughes of the Otters. Face-off won by the Colts. After it there is Emerton. He's going to dump it in. Earl it in out of his net to play it. He'll continue it around the boards. Otters trying to get to it. Eliasson ties up Agrette. Puck's going to sail back to the Colts blue line. Emerton sends that one across as the Colts try and regroup. Bodie Stewart coming around his own goal. Stewart passing that one forward at center. Crombie gives it up to Gardner. Gardner enters the zone up the middle, trying to go to Stewart, but that puck got away from him. Puck goes to the corner. Otters with possession. They're just going to flip this one out to center ice. Eliasson was trying to track that one down. It got by him. Puck sent on net as Jaswal gets his first touch. As sending that one to the net was Tyler Cooper.
Good opportunity there for the Barrie Colts second line. Almost Gardner was able to cut through the middle, had some space, and he tried to pass the cross to Bodie Stewart, but puck was just too far ahead of Stewart, who was trying to get there in time. Would have had an open net if he could have gotten there.
Well, Brad Gardner, he's been sitting on 13 goals for the last 4 games. He was off to a hot start with the goal scoring, but kind of gone dry these last few games, but always great in the faceoff dot as we get this faceoff to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Asadorian will take the draw this time for the Colts. As being tossed out of the faceoff dot this time will be Gabriel Frasca, so we'll try this again. Faceoff won by the Colts. Puck goes to the corner. Passmore trying to send this one ahead. Here's Asadorian. He loses an edge. Colts want a penalty, none coming. Erie Otters get it back in the zone. Backhand, that hits the side of the net, and Jaswal casually just grabs that one out of the air as Gabriel Frasca was just sending that to the net.
Jaswal made that look easy. The puck popped up off the side of the net and fires the glove out there to make the easy saves.
Well, it was a very slow start to the game Wednesday night up in Sudbury, and I know for Dylan Smoskowitz in the pregame was talking about how the team really didn't get things going, and right now I'm sure he wants to see his team get off to a better start here, but a bit of a casual flow. Maybe it's because of the delayed start, but a little slow early on as the Colts have possession. That Schneid along the boards gets the blue line. He'll pick it up himself. Schneid dumps this in, Erlin with the glove, and he's going to hold on to that as that was a long distance shot there from William Schneid.
Well, now Schnei going to go at it with Lucas Ambrosio, the Erie Otters defender, after the whistle. A bit of action there, and even though it was, Schnei was taking the shot just as he was entering the zone, but sets up an offensive zone draw for the Colts.
Yeah, just being reacquainted with one another. It's been a couple weeks. So both teams will make changes here. Faceoff will come to the left of Erlin. Actually, we're going to get a couple of penalties out of that. Both Schneid and Ambrosio in the box.
Gets for roughing.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4-on-4 situation here, so things opening up a bit. A little surprised we got penalties out of that, but either way, 4-on-4. Puck goes behind the Otters' net. Erie with possession, sending that one ahead is Trevino. He's stopped there by Salandra. Puck comes around the boards, picking it up as Sari. Sari was going to go right back behind his own net as he's got Asadorian there on the forecheck. He'll leave it. Picked up there by Mishiak. Mishiak, he stood up by Salandra. Puck rolls into the Barrie zone. There's the shot, blocked by Aitchison. Coming around with it, that's Callum Hughes. Hughes can't keep that one in the zone, so he's going to skate all the way back to his own blue line. Trevino picks it up here for the Colts. Nearly gave that up to Asadorian. Otters moving this one ahead. 4-on-4 situation for another minute 18. Sari gets this one into the Barrie zone. Stopped there by Hanser, who lost his stick. Otters trying to pick this one up. Hughes peels back to the boards. Hughes dropping it there for Mishiak. Mishiak trying to keep it away from Hanser. Backhand pass finds Hughes. He must have hit a rut or something. He falls and the Colts get it out. Cole Beaudoin on the wing, charging towards the net. Beaudoin stood up, puts it in front. Aitchison couldn't find it. Beaudoin puts it back to the point to Hemming. That puck's going to get to the line. Nice work there. Hanser just keeps it in. Hemming reaching for it, but the Otters are going to take it out. Now it's Gabriel Frasca. He's going to skate this one in. Frasca with a shot, and that goes wide of the net. Kayshawn Aitchison picks it up at his own blue line, gives it up to Beaudoin. Beaudoin leaving it there for Hemming. Hemming lost the handle of it. Otters get it to the line and out. Emerton there to collect it now for the Colts. Over to Eliasson. That puck's deflected. Beaudoin gives chase. Trying to put that in front of the net. Hemming couldn't get there in time. Still 20 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Erie with possession. They're going to take it back behind their own net. As Hughes moves that one forward to Dylan Edwards. Edwards carrying this one in, drops it back. Blocked by Emerton. Cole Emerton's going to skate this one ahead for the Colts. Reaching center ice. Backhand pass to Crombie. Crombie settles it down, trying to go back to Emerton, but that pass is taken away. Otters moving up. Penalized players back on, so 5-on-5. Crombie sends us into the Erie zone. That puck's going to bounce. Erlin plays it around his own net. Bodie Stewart off the bench. Can't get to it. That puck's going to bounce out to center. Delayed offside there. Picked up by the Otters near side. Coombs. Coombs will send that one across. Otters with it. Inside the blue line. That's Caden Edwards. Edwards dropping that one over. Long pass. Picked off by Hanser. Hanser sends that one in as Edwards fell in front of him. Puck goes back behind the Erie net. Otters with possession. They're going to move this one forward, skating it ahead. That's Luke Plant. Plant loses possession of it. Colts take it back the other way. Here's Gardner. Gardner inside the blue line. His pass taken away as Edwards sends it out. Erie with possession through center. That's going to be dumped in. Chasing after it here is Ritter Coombs. Coombs takes Hanser into the boards. Colts trying to pick it up. Armstrong. He's tied up by Plant. Puck goes back behind the Colts net. Barrie with possession. Here's Justin Hanser. He's going to pass that one forward. Calvin Crombie ahead. Jaden Newton skates after the loose puck into the Erie zone. Takes a hard hit as Frazier took down Newton. He is slow to get up. Jaden Newton, he's making his way to the bench. We'll keep an eye on him. He's hunched over. Play continues. Back behind the net. Picked up by Edgar. Edgar's pass is deflected. Carter Lowe picks it up the blue line. Up to Asadorian. Asadorian enters the attacking zone, trying to get around the defense. He's tied up by Ambrosio. Puck goes to the corner. Colts trying to regain possession, but it's the Otters who get it out. Jaden Newton right now getting attended to on the bench as he is rattled after that hit from Frazier. Colts have it behind their own net. Edgar ahead, turns that one over, taken away by Murray. Puck goes around the boards into the near corner. Otters get it again. Back to the blue line. Trevino at the point. Gets that one down low. Challenger can't hold on to it. Taken away by Edgar. And then Edgar will send it ahead. Low. His pass blocked. Getting in the way of that was Hughes. He's going to send this one back. Otters and Colts both make changes. Still no score here in Erie. 14:20 left to go in the first period. That puck sent deep. Aitchison's going to chase after it. We only have one shot on goal. That's for the Erie Otters at this point, as the goaltenders haven't had to do too much, as Cole Baudouin goes after the loose puck in the Erie zone from the corner, trying to go in front. Schneid, shot, that's blocked. Baudouin fires, and that goes blind to the cage. Picked up there by Sari. Sari's going to send this one out and down the ice, knocked down by Aitchison. Hemming finds the loose puck. He'll carry this one in. Emil Hemming goes to the net, takes the shot, stopped by Erliden, and he's going to hold on to that one, as that's going to be the first shot of the game for the Barrie Colts. And still looking at the Barrie Colts bench, Jaden Newton's there, helmet off, being attended to still. Looks like we'll have to keep a close eye on Newton there.
Well, it was a big hit from Garrett Fraser. It's definitely clean as well. Just a really nice play by Fraser there. Like you mentioned, a bit of a slow start to this one. The Colts ramping up the pressure there. Schneid with the one-timer out front that got blocked, and then Baudouin had a big opportunity on the rebound that was sent just wide. One thing that's going to be interesting to watch for in this game, that those two penalties there off the bat to Ambrosio and Schneid, there wasn't really a lot going on there for a post whistle scrum, so it'll be interesting to see how closely those are officiated here tonight.
Yeah, I'm wondering if is that going to be the tone here tonight with the penalties, because it wasn't much of a rough, but I guess if you're the officials, you want to have the control early on. But with that 4-on-4 situation, I was kind of surprised we didn't see more shots. Both teams kind of keeping each other to the perimeter. It wasn't until that late chance that the Colts were finally able to get a puck to the net.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there was really any big opportunities going either way. The Otters kind of put one on net that was deflected off of Kayshawn Aitchison, but outside of that, there really wasn't anything.
So we'll get this face-off to the left of Noah Erliden. Face-off, won by Edgar. He'll send that back to the point. Salandra has it in the corner. In front to Edgar, and that goes wide of the net. Good chance there for Edgar, and Aitchison sends this one around the boards. Desiderio behind the net. Nicholas Desiderio, he's knocked off stride. Puck goes behind the Otters' net. Erie will send this one ahead, knocked down by Aitchison. Edgar gives that to Salandra. He puts it back behind the Erie net. Erliden will send that one around. Hughes picks it up now for the Otters. He's going to go back around his own cage. Now we got a delayed call here. Salandra was knocked down behind the Erie Otters net. So it's going to be a power play here for the Barrie Colts. Is heading to the box is Garrett Fraser.
I'm guessing they're saying that he set a pick there as Salandra was trying to chase the Erie forward with the puck, and Fraser got in between them, and down goes Salandra, and that sets up Colts' first power play of the game. The power play's been strong this year, fits in the OHL, and looking to continue that.
And this power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. As you mentioned, the power play operating at 27.4%. They were 1-for-1 Wednesday up in Sudbury. So we'll see what they can do this time around, as Hemming has it at the point. Sends it down low. Gardner, backhand pass. That's deflected wide. Emerton keeps it at the blue line. Picking up now is Aitchison. Across to Hemming. Hemming settles it down. Doesn't take the shot. Peels into the corner. Backhand pass to Gardner. Gardner back to the blue line. Emerton. Cole Emerton riding that blue line. Goes over to Hemming on the near boards. Goes to the corner. Trades places with Gardner. In front side of the net. Goes through the paint. As Cole Baudouin had a beautiful chance, but that puck bounced on him. Now Erie will come back short-handed. Emerton misses the hit. There's the shot, stopped by Jaswal. As getting that short-handed break was Frasca.
Great opportunities on both ends of the ice there. First to the Barrie Colts. Gardner's pass goes out front to Kayshawn Aitchison, and he kind of fans on it, and it goes right to Cole Baudouin, and it just hits off his stick. Don't know if he was expecting it. Then back the other way, Frasca does a nice job moving around Emerton, who tried to lay the hit. Got in all alone, but Jaswal able to make a big save there.
Chances at both ends. Power play down to a minute 18 here for the Barrie Colts. Face off to the right of Jaswal. Puck rolls to the net. They poke at it, and Jaswal makes the save. That'd be a quick reaction there. I think it was Jake Murray who may have got the stick on it.
Well, not a lot of chances on either side so far. 7.5 minutes in. Shots 3-1 right now for the Erie Otters.
Scrambled draw, won by the Colts. Armstrong's going to take it around his own net. Ethan Armstrong moving this one ahead for the Colts. Reaches the blue line, drops it back, picked up by Salandra. Salandra to Asadorian. Asadorian up to Newton. Good to see Jaden Newton back on the ice. And the Otters are going to get this down into the Barrie zone. 56 seconds now remaining here in this man advantage. Armstrong comes out from behind the net. Reaches center ice now, drops it back, picked up by Salandra. Joe Salandra through the neutral zone, carrying this one in. His pass deflected. After it here is Newton. Jaden Newton loses the handle of it. Otters get it out. Edwards is going to take this back in his own zone, taking more time off this Barrie Colts power play. Now he'll dump it. That goes right on net. Jaswell will leave it for Ethan Armstrong. 28 seconds left now in the penalty to Fraser. Colts back to play it. Kayshawn Aitchison now. He's going to take it back behind his own cage. Now skates it forward. Aitchison from his own blue line drops it back to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin reaching the neutral zone. He'll skate it into the Erie end. Beaudoin passing this one across, but couldn't find Hemming. Puck's loose. Hemming, stick check, still with it. Beaudoin's tripped up. That's going to be a penalty. Aitchison gets it, takes the shot, fires it over the net. And that's going to go out of play just as Fraser was coming out of the penalty box. So it's going to remain a 5-on-4 situation as it's now starting to become a parade to the penalty box.
It's going to be Luke Plant going to the box here, and she kind of trips Beaudoin up down in the corner. And this is the part of the game that the Barrie Colts can win. The Erie Otters, they have the 17th best power play, the 15th best penalty kill. See if Barrie can take advantage of the Otters' struggling special teams here tonight.
And this latest power play for the Barrie Colts is brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. As the Colts have it deep in their own zone, Cole Beaudoin's going to skate this to center ice. Enters the attacking zone. Beaudoin stood up by Fraser. He's been throwing plenty of hits in this first period. Gardner sends it back to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison at the point, sends it down low. Beaudoin in front. Hemming puts that wide of the net. Gardner gets it in the corner, puts it towards the slot, but it's picked up by the Otters, and they're just going to clear it out. Good stick work there by Ritter Coombs. Puck's behind the Colts net, trying that wraparound, but that hits the side of that. It was Gabriel Frasca with the chance. Aitchison across to Hemming. Emil Hemming, he'll enter the attacking zone for the Colts. Passes across to Gardner. Gardner to the net, trying to tuck it around, but that was poked away by Trevino. Puck's behind the net, backhand pass. Beaudoin couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Gardner from the half boards, back to the blue line. That's Emerton. Cole Emerton sets up Hemming. Emil Hemming off the board, skates to the middle, takes the shot. That goes wide of the net. Beaudoin can't get to it. Aitchison will. He's tied up. Loose puck picked up by Erie, and they're just going to send it down the length of the ice. 45 seconds left in this man advantage. We got a crowd between the benches as Hemming and Coombs were mixing it up, but play continues. Ethan Armstrong dropping this one back for Salandra. Joe Salandra, center, sends it ahead. Crombie couldn't get a stick on it. Salandra, though, finds the loose puck down to the net. That bouncing in front, and it comes in the near boards. Asadorian fires. That's deflected. Erliden puts it behind the net. Otters, they're able to regain possession, and right away, Murray will send this one down the length of the ice. 12 seconds left in this latest power play for the Barrie Colts. Their second man advantage of the night. There's a turnover. Otters whip it. In front, poked away by Armstrong. Puck still loose, and not able to get a stick on it there was Dylan Edwards. Great recovery there by Ethan Armstrong, but the power play has come to an end, so the Colts now 0 for 2 on the man advantage tonight. 9 minutes still to go in the first period. No score. Shots right now 4-1 for the Erie Otters. Bodie Stewart, he'll carry this one in for the Colts. Passes in front. Lowe fans on that shot attempt. Hughes will pick it up in the corner. Lowe throwing a hit there on Hughes. Loose puck. Edgar trying to knock it free. Carter Lowe still over top of that puck. They jam away at it. Otters trying to move it. Reaching there with his skate was Nick Frasca, and he'll take it back behind his own net. Up ahead. Otters gets the line. That's going to escape the zone. Bodie Stewart across to Passmore. Bodie Stewart inside his own blue line. Those two play catch. Passmore tries the right side. Edgar tips it into the zone. Rolls on net. Erliden decides to play it. Carter Lowe knocks it free. Gives it to Edgar. Back to Lowe. At the blue line, Emerton takes the shot in front. Nice move by Edgar. Jams at it, but that stays out. That was a toe save by Erliden. Here's Carter Lowe up the middle. Backhand shot stopped by Erliden. He's going to pounce on that one as Edgar and Lowe both getting some great chances there for the Barrie Colts.
Some really good opportunities there for Barrie. Edgar found himself alone out front, trying to reach it around Noah Erliden, but Erliden able to get the pass out, and then the rebound comes out to Lowe in the middle. He's able to get around one of the Otters defenders and drive the net. And the Barrie Colts, though, I don't know if Dylan Smosquitz will be too happy with special teams right now on power play. 0 for 2 here in the early going, and they didn't have a shot on either of the power plays.
And on the end of that second power play, it was the Otters who were generating the chances with Dylan Edwards. Otters get this one out to center ice, collected there by Emerton. He's going to send it back into the Otters zone. Erliden behind his own net to play it. Sends this one around, ends up at the blue line. Emerton has possession, takes the shot. Erliden guides that to the corner. Asadorian back to Eliasson. Across, finds Emerton, takes the shot, deflected. Erliden the save around the net. Desiderio has it in the corner, sends it back to Eliasson at the point. Back to Desiderio. He'll peel it back, takes the shot, and Erliden with the glove save. As we're starting to see more chances here from the Barrie Colts as they now lead on the shot clock 5-4.
Well, it's the depth guys getting things going again. The line of Edgar, Lowe, and Stewart there for a minute, and then now Asadorian, Salantra, and Desiderio, and that's going to set up the top guys with an offensive zone draw.
7:33 left to go in the first period. Still waiting for our first goal of the game. This faceoff coming to the right of Noah Erliden. Cole Beaudoin's going to take the draw here for the Barrie Colts up against Gabriel Frasca. I'm sure those two are going to see quite a bit of one another here tonight. As that faceoff won by the Otters. Puck's on the far side. Erie's going to move this one ahead. Fraser sends it ahead. Here's Frasca. Frasca's got the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. Puck goes to the corner. Dylan Edwards trying to send it back, but the Colts get it out. Here's Cole Beaudoin at center ice. Gives it up to Schneid, but he overskates it. Puck sent into the Erie zone. Fraser's going to come back to play it for the Otters. Puts that one across. Carrying it ahead is Ambrosio. That's deflected, so no icing. Puck goes deep into the Barrie zone. Aitchison's there. Aitchison has to be careful with Frasca. Puck bouncing behind the net. Aitchison digs it free up to Schneid. He's going to send this down the length of the ice, and that's going to go wide. So icing against the Barrie Colts.
Well, for the Erie Otters, it's a top-heavy offense right now. You got Michael Deck, Gabriel Frasca, and Dylan Edwards all above 20 points. And then the only other guy with more than 10 is Brett Hammond, who's out of the lineup today, serving a one-game suspension after a boarding penalty last weekend against the Oshawa Generals.
Yeah, that was on Blasig in the game in Oshawa as that shot goes wide of the net. Crombie has it in the corner, trying to play it along the board. Stopped there by Murray. Aitchison goes behind his own net. Jake Aitchison back to Passmore. Passmore will give that up to Crombie. Gets that one out, deflected, so no icing. Back to collect it is Tristan Trevino. Long pass, getting a stick on it was Murray. Armstrong up to Stewart. Stewart, he falls. That's going to be a penalty as he's tripped up. Fans here don't like it, as that would have been a breakaway opportunity for Tyler Cooper. But instead, it's another power play upcoming for the Barrie Colts.
That's already 3 here in the first 14 minutes of this game. Going to the box this time is going to be Jake Murray, who just gets the stick in there on Bodie Stewart. 3 penalties already for the Otters, and as well, a couple minutes ago at the end of that second power play, Justin Hanser got tripped up, but the rest didn't call that one.
This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. This is kind of a reversal to what we saw Wednesday up in Sudbury, where it was the Wolves getting all the power play chances. But instead now it's the Colts, as you mentioned already, their third power play tonight. And already the Colts have to start over back in their own zone. Emerton turns it over, gave it right to Frasca, who's standing behind him. The Otters reading that drop back pass really well, as Beaudoin now has it at his own blue line. Passing that one ahead to Hemming. Hemming up to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison inside the blue line. Takes his time. Back to Emerton. Cole Emerton sends down low to Beaudoin in front. Trying the quick shot was Hemming. That's blocked. Otters get a stick on it at the line, and that's just going to cross. ML Hemming's going to regroup here. 1:18 left to go in the power play. Hemming carrying it in for the Colts. Gives that one up to Gardner. Dropping that one back. Finds Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin at the point to Emerton. Emerton to Hemming. Emil Hemming at the point, looking at his options. He'll skate to the middle. Down low to Beaudoin in the corner. Near corner for Cole Beaudoin. Sets up Hemming again. Back to Emerton. Emerton passing across. One-timer Aitchison. And there's the save by Erliden, as I don't think Kayshawn Aitchison got all of that one.
No, it didn't look like it. Erliden pretty easily getting across to make that save. And first shot on 3 power plays for the Barrie Colts there, and bring out the second unit here, trying to get things going.
Yeah, the Erie Otters doing a great job just clogging that middle. They can't get a clean pass across, which they're used to doing. As Erie will clear the zone, they put it right onto their bench, made contact with the player. So we're going to try this face-off again.
Well, not only in their own zone, but they've been pretty aggressive on the penalty kill. A couple good opportunities in the first 2, and then almost another one here when Emberton tried that drop back pass.
So we'll do this face-off to the left of Noah Erliden. 52 seconds now remaining in the power play here for the Barrie Colts. It's Jake Murray who's in the penalty box. Scramble draw, won by Erie. Fraser's going to hammer that one around the boards. Kept in at the point by Salandra. Down low is Crombie. Back to Salandra. At the blue line, Armstrong. Sets up Acidorian. He'll hit the brakes. Down low. Newton. Acidorian. He'll hold up. Goes back to Armstrong. Acidorian doesn't take the shot. Down low to Newton. Jaden Newton from the corner to Acidorian. Back to Armstrong. Ethan Armstrong sets up Salandra. Joe Salandra taking his time here. 20 seconds left in the power play. Armstrong, Acidorian, one-timer stop by Erliden, and the Erie Otters will clear it out. So the Otters not giving much for the Barrie Colts to work with. And when they do get the shots, Noah Erliden able to make the big saves. Armstrong through center to Newton. That was too far ahead of him. Erliden to the line, not out. Kept in by Crombie. That's going to go around the boards as the power play has come to an end. So the Barrie Colts now 0 for 3 on the power play. Crombie takes the hit. Puck's deep in the Erie zone. Frasca ahead to Dylan Edwards. Edwards is going to skate this one up for the Erie Otters, dropping that one back to Gladman. Gladman sends it towards the net as Jaswal had to make a quick save. Salandra gets this one out to center ice. Gladman will send that one across. Erie dumping it in. Jaswal plays it behind his own net. Arvin Jaswal sending it around. That's picked off and bouncing towards the net. Hits the side of the goal. Colts giving up a great chance there for the Erie Otters. They were just not able to connect. 3.5 minutes now remaining in this first period as Edwards sends this one out to center ice. Michael Deck to the near side for Nick Frasca. He's taken into the boards. Deck trying to get to that loose puck in the corner, taken away by Aitchison. Edgar passes it ahead for Lowe, leaves it for Stewart. Bodie Stewart back to Lowe. That was out of his reach. Puck goes to the corner. Carter Lowe trying to dig this one free in a battle in the corner there with Tristan Trevino. Puck comes along the boards. Eliasson takes down his man. Near side, Aitchison and takes the shot. But that came after the whistle as they're going to call a penalty here against Gabriel Eliasson. He was tied up with Michael Deck. So the Erie Otters, they're now going to get their first power play of the hockey game.
Well, not what you want to see if you're the Barrie Colts taking a penalty in the offensive zone, especially when one of your better players in Kayshawn Aitchison is stepping up to take a pretty decent shot attempt.
So the Erie Otters, their power play right now ranks 17th in the OHL, operating at 15.1%, while the Barrie Colts PK right now 16th in the OHL at 74.4%. The penalty kill, as we've mentioned, has been improving. However, they gave up 2 power play goals against in Sudbury Wednesday night. So we'll see what they can do this time around. It's been the Erie Otters being very opportunistic here tonight, creating the turnovers. We saw even Jaswal giving up the puck at the side of the net. It's some of those smaller details that the Barrie Colts need to tighten up on.
Yeah, the Otters have done a good job. They've been forcing the takeaways, taking advantage of some of the Colts' mistakes. They've been very aggressive as well. And in a game where up until this point, the Otters hadn't had a power play and the Colts had 3, the shots are only 8-5 for Barrie.
So it's a roughing penalty against Gabriel Eliasson. Face off to the right of Jaswal. Colts win it. Aitchison sends it around the boards. No one there for Barrie. Erie will pick it up. Passmore takes down Plant as loose puck collected by Gardner, and the Colts get it out, but it's knocked down at center ice by Callum Hughes. Or Fraser, rather. Fraser is going to send that one across. Picked up by Mishiak. He'll send that into the Colts zone. Passmore gets a stick on it. Puck's in the air. We're going to say it stays in play. Puck goes behind the Barrie net. Kayshawn Aitchison will find it and sends it down the length of the ice. 1.5 minutes still to go in the penalty to Eliasson as the Otters will regroup. Fraser coming up from behind his own net. Fraser sends that one ahead to Plant. Plant backhands it, catching up to it on the far side. There's the shot. That's going to go wide of the net from Frasca. Here's Plant trying to go back to Mishiak. Puck kept in at the point, just sitting there as Fraser's going to send it back behind the Barrie net. Colts pick it up. That's Hanser. He's going to send it around and down the ice. So the Erie Otters, they're on the power play, but not getting good looks right now. The Colts shutting things down pretty good in this first half of this man advantage.
Feels similar to the Barrie power plays.
Otters are going to move this one ahead with speed. That's Dylan Edwards through the neutral zone. Drops that one over. Near side now to Frasca. Gabriel Frasca loses it. Now Cole Beaudoin's going to skate it up shorthanded. Beaudoin into the attacking zone, trying to get around Trevino, but he took that one away. Puck now coming up the wing. Here is Michael Deck. Deck trying to go to the net, drops it back, but gave it right to Hemming. And the Colts forward is going to clear it out. Erliden coming out of his net to play it. 24 seconds remaining in the power play. Puts it off the end boards. There's Cole Beaudoin to take it away. He's tied up and pushed into the net. Otters with possession. They're going to skate it up. Edwards through the neutral zone for Erie. Nearly lost it. Gives it up to Deck. Deck dropping this one back. Backhand from Frasca. Stopped by Jazz while they jam at it. Pucks in the blue paint. But the Barrie Colts goaltender, he's able to hold on to it.
Well, Barrie meant for 6 seconds away from getting the power play over with as they've announced Gabriel Eliason as the pest of the game. That's an interesting one, but a pretty strong kill here for the Barrie Colts, and the Otters not really able to create many opportunities here.
I guess you can have an advertiser for almost anything at a hockey game. And if you have a business and you want to sponsor, we could do that. We could have the pest of the game. We just need a business to step up for it. So the power play has come to an end. We're approaching the final minute of the first period. Otters have it deep in their own zone as they regroup. Sending this one ahead is Ambrosio. That pass doesn't connect with Hughes. Aitchison is going to backtrack. Takes it behind his own net, directing traffic. Aitchison's going to take his time. 48 seconds remaining here in the period. That long stretch pass finds Calvin Crombie. Crombie takes the shot. Stopped by Erliden. Pucks at the side of the net. Crombie trying to get to it. His stick's tied up. Crombie will find it again. Back to the blue line. It's Aitchison. Across to Passmore. Passmore sends that one around the boards. Gardner gets it behind the Erie net. 30 seconds remaining. Crombie's taken into the boards. He'll kick this one ahead. Calvin Crombie behind the net. In front of Stewart, but can't connect. Gardner gets it at the point. Brad Gardner leaves it for Passmore. Takes the shots, and that goes into the glove of Noah Erliden, and he's going to hold on to it.
Ambrosio getting into it again, this time with Bodie Stewart. But both second line with some really nice opportunities there. Again, doing a good job moving the puck around. It started with that long ice pass from Tayshaun Aitchison from behind his own net up to the blue line. But Calvin Crombie was just kind of sneaking behind the Otters defense. Don't know if they really picked up on the fact that he was up there.
17.6 seconds left in this first period. Faceoff will come to the left of Erliden. Brad Gardner set to take the faceoff here for the Barrie Colts up against Luke Plant. A big faceoff. The linesman not liking what he saw there. So now Gardner is going to be tossed out of the faceoff dot. So in comes Calvin Crombie. So we'll try this again. Face off one by the Colts. Gardner sends that one back to Emerton in front. Crombie stopped by Erliden. The puck was loose, but tied up in front with Stewart. And the Erie Otters will get this one out. Emerton from his own blue line ahead to Stewart. 4 seconds. His shot's blocked by Trevino. Another shot blocked again by Trevino. And that will do it for the first period of play. And then Crombie knocked over after the buzzer. So that's going to generate a crowd behind the Erie Otters net. We'll see if we get any penalties out of this. But it's a first period that we didn't really see too many opportunities from either side. Shots favoring the Barrie Colts 11-6. But I think for both teams, maybe thankful that they got out of that opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so you look at it from a Barrie Colts perspective, and they had 3 power plays in the period. They had a really big opportunity to not only open the scoring, but get a multi-goal lead here. And they really weren't creating many shots. The Barrie Colts are going to go into the break leading on the shot board, but I think they could have been leading by a lot more and had a few goals in the back of the net if they had created some power play opportunities. And for the Otters, they survived those 3 power plays, and they were lucky to get through that. And then their penalty, they got a power play of their own, but they weren't really able to create anything on that either.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that probably stands out from that first period is the defensive game from either side, especially on that penalty kill, because it seemed as though for the Erie Otters, just putting everybody in that slot. You don't allow the Colts to move those cross ice feeds. You don't get Erliden moving, and that limits the options and creating those turnovers and getting a couple of rushes.
Yeah, the Barrie Colts weren't really able to move the puck around as well as they wanted, like you mentioned. And of course, Tayshaun Aitchison with that big booming one-timer. It's much easier for Noah Erliden to get across when it's Cole Emerton at the point, passing that across to Aitchison and not Emil Hemming all the way on the other side of the ice.
So it's the first intermission here at Erie Insurance Arena. No score to report between the Colts and the Otters. We will be going into the chat. So if you have any comments or questions, we can address that in a few minutes. Plus, we're going to give our take on some big news items that happened over the last 24 hours. We're going to talk about the suspension to Dragusika, and we also have got the surprise when it comes to the 2027 CHL Memorial Cup. But before we get there, Josh McCann had a chance to talk with Joe Salandra, and we'll get with his conversation here.
Joined by Colts forward Joe Salandra. Joe, it's your first time playing with the Barrie Colts in the United States. You're, of course, from America. What's it like?
It's definitely cool to be back, but it's still the same ice at the end of the day. So kind of just sticking to our game plan today and getting the job done.
Now, you've just recently moved to Canada, obviously, to be a part of the CHL. Are there any big differences you've noticed between Canada and the States?
I actually wouldn't say there's a big difference. A lot of the guys think there's a difference, but there's definitely some difference in maybe the food, but not really. I would say it's been great though. Moving to Canada, it's been good getting to meet the guys and building a connection with this team.
Now this week's American Thanksgiving. Even though you'll be back in Barrie, do you have anything planned for that?
I do actually. Coach Mozzi's actually having the American guys over for Thanksgiving, so that should be a really fun experience.
And what is American Thanksgiving like compared to Canadian Thanksgiving? I know I've heard that it's kind of like a multi-day event down here.
Yeah, for us it's just on Thursday, the third Thursday of November, but I think the food is pretty similar to Canada, so I don't think there's much of a difference, just the day.
Now with the Barrie Colts, you've had some big opportunities with the team, playing with Cole Beaudoin and Emil Hemming. What was it like being on line with those two guys?
I mean, it was great, playing with those guys, such first round pick caliber players, and it's a huge deal, and I tried to learn from them as best as possible, because those are the guys you want to learn from. They're one day gonna be dominant in the NHL, so just kind of playing with them, learning as much as I can from them was super cool, and I hope to play with them again and kind of just learn from them.
What were some of those things you were able to learn while playing on that line?
Just little things like stick detail and kind of holding on to the puck and letting plays develop and being able to make more plays with them, because they're always in the right spot at the right time.
Now, obviously, with the new rules, you're allowed to, after playing in the CHL, eventually potentially play NCAA. Is that something you've thought of potentially?
Yes. So I'm actually committed to play at Harvard. So in the future, I plan to play for Harvard. I don't really know when that will be, but I've loved it here. So I'm just kind of taking it day by day and just kind of liking the experience so far here.
Joe, thanks for doing this. Best of luck tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
So it's the first intermission here from the Erie Insurance Arena as we get set for the second period of play. No score to report between the Barrie Colts and the Erie Otters. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in so far as we bring you the Colts action on the road. And it's a busy night around the Ontario Hockey League. 9 games in total. So let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Now we're going to start in Brampton. The Steelheads find themselves in a 0-0 tie with the Flint Firebirds after the first period. Cranford Bulldogs already up 3-0 on the Sarnia Sting, who continue to struggle as of late. Barrie taking... Oh, that's Barrie.
I was going to say, aren't we there?
Ottawa and Kitchener, that game's tied at 1 after the first period. After 1 in Kingston, it's the Frontenacs tied 1-1 with the Peterborough Petes. In Oshawa, the Generals up 2-0 on the North Bay Battalions. The Battalion, big win last night over London, but not really playing up to their standards here tonight. The Knights are also in action again. They're taking on the Sudbury Wolves. Brady Watson with, once again, another goal for the Knights. That game tied at 1 after the first period, but the shots on goal 11-2 for the London Knights. Windsor up 1-0 on the Saginaw Spirit after 1. And then in Guelph, it's a 2-2 tie between the Owen Sound Attack and the Guelph Storm.
So the Oshawa Generals doing a bit of a favor for the Barrie Colts. That 2-0 lead on North Bay is the Colts right now first in the Central Division, but North Bay not too far behind, just 2 points as that race in the Central heats up. Now, we did have some huge news this week in regards to the Memorial Cup and in regards to suspension. So let's start with Luke Dragosica, his suspension. As I see that Tammy bringing it up, she says that he deserves the suspension, could have ended the other guy's season, and they have come down with it. The suspension is for the remainder of the regular season and the playoffs. During the off season, he will be able to speak to a board with the Ontario Hockey League about being reinstated into the Ontario Hockey League. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think with Tammy's point that he could have ended the Brady Blasic's season, I think that was one of the more interesting parts of while we waited for this suspension was the fact that Blasic came back right away. And sometimes when a player isn't as hurt as first initially thought, the suspension is sometimes lower. And sometimes if a guy's injured long-term, that suspension can be higher. But the OHL, they took their time with this, which I think was very smart of them. Make sure you get it right. And in the end, they do decide to suspend him for the rest of the season, which is probably a smart move. I mean, that wasn't a hockey play at all. I mean, he just picked up a stick and whacked Blasic, or poor Blasic plays back-to-back games, and that guy gets kicked out for attacking him. It was Brett Hammond of the Erie Otters that sent him face first into the boards at the Tribune Community Arena last weekend. But yeah, for Dragosica, I think at the end of the day, that's probably a deserved suspension, and he'll probably have to do some stuff in the meantime to prove that he should be allowed back in the OHL, and they'll make that decision come off season time.
So with that suspension, that means he's going to miss 49 games this season, which is not as much as Michael Liambis in the 2009-2010 season. Liambis of the Erie Otters then was given a ban for the rest of the season, just like Dragosica, but that one was a 52-game suspension, and it was also his overage season, so it ended his junior hockey career. But this is now, to my memory, the second longest suspension then in OHL history, or at least over the last 25 years.
Well, and it's a big loss for the Brampton Steelheads as well. I mean, they were a team that lost so many players in the offseason. Dragosica was one of those guys that was still a veteran presence for them, has played a couple of years here in the OHL. I think next year is his overage season, so, or maybe it's 2 years down the line, but he's still a veteran presence, so it'll be interesting to see if they want him back or maybe they want to move off him after that incident.
Yeah, so Dragosica will have to go to the league and have a meeting with them just to be approved to come back into the Ontario Hockey League, just to show that he's taking those steps, especially to address the anger and whatnot, as it was a vicious play and something that we should not see in hockey or junior hockey or in sports in general, just with the intent to injure on that play. And the other big story coming out of Guelph, the Storm have been named the Memorial Cup host. It was between the Guelph Storm and the Kitchener Rangers. And over the last 3 seasons, everyone was talking about how, it's going to go to the Odd and Kitchener. The Rangers, they've got the cathedral of junior hockey. They've got the seat capacity. They hosted in 2008. But no, the bidding committee decides, let's go to Guelph.
Yeah, it was very surprising, I think, when everyone opened their phone yesterday and saw that the Guelph Storm were hosting the Memorial Cup, and sounded like from what I've seen online that the vote was 3-2 in favor of Guelph, so it was a tight vote. But like you mentioned, we kind of been preparing for the fact that the 2027 Memorial Cup was going to go to Kitchener. We didn't really believe that it was going to be anywhere else. And Kitchener had kind of been preparing for this over the last couple of years with the way they've built their roster. Last year, they were a bit of a surprise being at the top of the conference. This year, they've had a decent start, maybe not as good as they were hoping for, but next year was going to be their big year to host the Memorial Cup. And in the end, that doesn't happen. But for the Guelph Storm, I think one of the more interesting points about it is that Kitchener wants to host a Memorial Cup. The Guelph Storm, they were wanting to host the 2027 Memorial Cup for the 200-year celebration in the city of Guelph. I doubt they would have bid on the 2030 Memorial Cup had they lost this one. So Kitchener, they're going to have to maybe go in on it again in 2030. And I think that makes that even more interesting because, like we've talked about, there's already a few teams building new arenas in preparation for the 2030 bid.
Yeah, you're going to have new arenas in Sudbury, Ottawa, and Brantford come 2030. And then this facility here, Erie Insurance Arena, I think this should be considered a candidate to host a Memorial Cup in the future. We have some amazing facilities right now in the Ontario Hockey League, and you can't go wrong with either Guelph or Kitchener. So congratulations to the Guelph Storm preparing for that Memorial Cup. Now the question is, what do those two teams do this season? For Kitchener, obviously they were a heavy favorite for the season, so do they become more buyers for this year? And then with the Guelph Storm, do you now look to recoup assets? Is Jet Luchenko going to be an option to trade away to get a young talent at the OHL trade deadline and then draft picks that you could use for next season to bring in a veteran player?
Yeah, I think Jet Luchenko and a guy like him, a guy like Charlie Paquette, they're more than likely going to be on the move for this Guelph Storm team. And Guelph, they already have a good amount of draft picks. They have more draft picks in the cupboard than the Kitchener Rangers have. In fact, they have 6 second-round picks over the next 4 years. So they're going to have a lot of draft picks to work with next season. And they're going to have some really solid players as well. Braden Bowman, Jacko Wysick are two really strong young players here in the OHL. And I think Guelph, they're already set up to have a pretty strong season next year. And they've been pretty decent this year. They've been pretty competitive against some solid teams here over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so it's going to be fascinating to see now what do those two teams do after this announcement of the Memorial Cup. Now, we do have the comments open, so if you want to join the conversation, feel free to do so. I see that Coffee Household, how come OHL has not got offside and net cameras yet? During the offseason, my understanding is they were supposed to go to all 20 OHL arenas and put new cameras above the blue line and over top of the net. The thing is, I'm not sure if every arena is finished yet, is my understanding from what I was told at the start of the year. They were still trying to get that technology to every facility. It'd be nice, too, from the broadcasting side of things, because we do the home games on Rogers TV, if we could have access to those cameras. Because usually when you see the linesman, having the review, we're kind of guessing, okay, it's an offside, but they may have a better vantage point than what our cameras have. Like, it's nothing against the crew of Rogers TV, but they have those cameras specifically on the line. So it'd be kind of nice if they could share that feed so that we could see, as fans and as broadcasters, what's actually going on.
Well, exactly. It goes for both offside and I think goaltender interference. A Rogers TV camera person isn't trained to follow along and make sure you check if it's offside or not. All they're trying to do is follow the action. So sometimes you don't really get a good angle from any of those cameras, and also depends on where you are in the rink. I mean, Barrie, we're way up there with our cameras, so if there isn't really a great angle from any of the 5 Rogers TV Barrie cameras to pick up on an offside or a goaltender interference. So having those cameras, I know we've used the camera above the net often on our broadcasts at home. I'd love to see a camera inside the net when sometimes we see those goals. There was a goal called no goal a couple of weeks ago for the Barrie Colts where it was like, yeah, we think it's in, but there's no way of actually proving that because it was under the netminder's pads and there's no camera angle to prove that it's behind.
Yeah, and I think the cameras are one thing, but the other thing I'd like to see is more transparency on the reviews, because there's been a few times already this season where we're calling the game and something happens and then they go to review it and we don't know if it's reviewing for an offside, a goaltender interference. Is it a penalty that happened a few minutes ago?
Well, we saw a couple of those with the high sticks, and then you talk about transparency in those situations. There wasn't really a lot of transparency on how those were called, because we looked Barrie against Peterborough most recently. there's a high stick against Peterborough, and then Peterborough goes and scores, and then they call the penalty, but then the goal still counts, which didn't really make sense. And then a couple weeks ago against Sudbury, Brad Gardner took a high sticking penalty. The Colts don't touch the puck. Sudbury goes down and scores. So then the goal counts, but then all the officials tell the public address announcer and the people inputting it into the website is Brad Gardner 2-minute minor for high sticking. Well, if it's a 2-minute minor, then he'd be out of the box on the goal, but Gardner was still in the box. So I think there was a bit of confusion on that from spectators at that game. I saw a couple of people kind of looking around like, what's happening here? But yeah, that's all that kind of happened, was that it was a 4-minute penalty that they announced this too.
So yes, Coffee Household also adding inside and above the net would be amazing. And hopefully we can get to that point at some time in the Ontario Hockey League. Maybe they're watching our stream right now, and if they're getting ideas from our broadcast, you can take them, because I think it would be amazing if we could have more camera angles to share with the viewers and for the broadcasters. Because there's times where we have no idea what's going on, and we're really limited as well with what we have. But great question there, Coffee Household, when it comes to the reviews. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't have any reviews tonight, because you just never know how long that delay is going to be.
Well, and there's times too as well where it takes a minute for maybe the information to get to the public address announcer, and then all of a sudden we're just kind of sitting there for 2-3 minutes and no one's even announced what the challenge is for. So then everyone's kind of sitting around not knowing what's going on. Like at Rogers TV, we don't really know what we're looking for on a replay. Is there interference or is it offside? And then with the high sticks recently, we've kind of been like, well, it's not offside and there's no interference, so we don't really know what's going on here.
Yeah, we have to do process of elimination, because when we're talking to the crew back in the studio, it's like, okay, what did you guys see? Because this is what we think it might be. And then they play the replay, and it's like, no, okay, it wasn't the offside.
I loved the last time, after a while, Gene just got tired of it. He stood up, he went over to the Barrie Colts video coach and was like, what did you challenge for?
Oh, my goodness. But that's exactly what we have to do, because we're limited as to what we have. And that's where I think it'd be great if the Ontario Hockey League would work with the broadcasters and to have that transparency so that we know what's going on. And even if they did an announcement on the ice, because you see that in the National Hockey League where the referees have the microphones and they're like, we're going to review this. It's challenged for offside. So then everybody in the building is kind of on the same page and knows what's going on.
I think that's what needs to happen in all these sports. I think the NFL does it the best, where when there's a bit of confusion on what's going on, someone just gets on the mic and says, this is what's happening. Even if it's not just a review, if it's something weird that's happening, there's a certain play, and then all of a sudden there's a discussion on one bench, discussion at the other, and we're just kind of left sitting wondering what the issue is.
So the second period of play ready to go here from the Erie Insurance Arena. And we are underway. The puck goes deep into the Colts zone. Going around the net is Evan Passmore. He'll send that one up to Schneid. Schneid reaching center ice, taken away there by Beaudoin. Hemming on the wing, back to Beaudoin. Backhand scores! What a goal by Cole Beaudoin. He just crashed into the end boards. We'll see if he's okay, but oh my goodness, what a pass by Hemming, and what a beautiful goal by Cole Beaudoin.
Well, Beaudoin drawing a penalty at first. Obviously, there won't be a power play after it, but I mean, we just talked about reviews, so you never know with the but a really impressive play by Cole Beaudoin and Emil Hemming, as Hemming's able to get it to him. Beaudoin gets around Fraser, and as he's going down to the ice, he's able to put the backhander past Noah Erliden, and a big start to this second period for the Barrie Colts. And I thought at the end of the first period they were starting to turn up the notch and get things going, and they're rewarded here to start the period.
Well, good news for Barrie Colt fans. Cole Beaudoin, he's okay. He just took the face-off, and he is still out on the ice. 1-0 for Barrie, his 11th of the season, as Beaudoin has it again. Takes the shot. Erliden got a piece of it. Puck goes to the corner. Hemming trying to get a stick on it. Mishiak will get it out for Erie. Argret carrying that one in. Backhand. Mishiak, he was alone in front, but couldn't control that pass. Hughes on the far side. That's knocked away. The Colts carry it out. Schneid over to Beaudoin on the wing. Cole Beaudoin enters the zone. Toe drag. His shot bouncing off a few legs. Another chance, and that's blocked by Trevino. Colts moving it around. Eliasson hammers that one wide, bouncing off the inboards. Almost went off the leg of Erliden. Puck's back behind the Erie net. Colts reaching for it. That was Hemming, but he's at the end of his shift. Otters get this one out to center ice. It's bouncing around. Hughes can't hold it. Eliasson, backhand pass to Emerton. Cole Emerton's got some room. Long pass. Picking up is Crombie. Crombie carrying this one in for Barrie into the middle. Dropping it back to Emerton. Takes the shot. Put in the save as Bodie Stewart was there trying to get to the rebound. But Erliden will hold on. But what a start to this second period for the Barrie Colts.
Well, the Colts have been a much better team here right off the bat. That was a dominant effort by the top line, and they almost got a second goal. Aitchison, Bodwin, and Hemming quickly came in the zone off the draw, and then Erie came back the other way. They had a man alone out front, but hit off his stick and skate, and then wasn't able to create an opportunity, and the Colts go right back the other way and have been outplaying the Otters here early in the second.
Yeah, Alex Misiak just couldn't handle the puck right in front of the Barrie Colts net, or he would have had a great chance there. But it remains 1-0. Now it's Crombie into the attacking zone. Crombie from the corner passes it in front. Emerton stopped by Erliden. Another chance. Stopped again by Erliden. Bodie Stewart falls behind the net. He had the puck. Now the Otters will get it to the line. Kept in by Gardner. Here's Eliason to Stewart. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will. That's blocked. And that slow dribbler is picked up by Plant. Plant passing that one across. Coombs skates this one in for Erie. Armstrong reaching around. Coombs stays with it. Back to Ambrosio. His shot stop. Rebound. Plant can't get a stick on it. Now the Colts get it to the line. Peeling back is Gardner. Gardner will put it back behind his own net. Here's Armstrong up ahead to Gardner. Brad Gardner through center. Up to Crombie. That bounced on him. Crombie taken into the boards. Trying to play it. Ends up back at the point. Taken away by Challenger. Tyler Challenger carrying this one in for the Otters. Drops this one back into the slot. Murray trying to get it. There's the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. Puck goes to the corner. Murray back to the line. Frasca sending that one around the boards. That was Nick Frasca. Desiderio leaving it for Crombie. He's trying to get it out. That's blocked by Murray. Now it's Justin Hanser. He'll flip this one out to center ice. Otters get it again at center. Gladman sent that one ahead. Not able to control that with Salandra. There's the shot blocked by Armstrong. Another chance. And that goes wide of the goal. That was Tyler Cooper with the chance. Colts can't get it out. Kept in by Murray. Cooper trying to get a stick on it. That bounced by him into the corner. Hard hit. Delivering that check was Cooper. Cooper down on the ice as he threw that hit on Desiderio. Puck ends up in the neutral zone. There to collect it for Erie is Dylan Edwards. Edwards sends it up to Frasca. Frasca trying to play it from the Colts blue line. They'll take it away. Salandra sending it back to the Erie zone. Sorry sends that one across. Otters trying to go through the neutral zone. Edwards has it. Flipped over to Frasca. Frasca's shot stopped by Jaswal, who's at the top of the blue paint. And he'll hold on to it as we're getting a lot more action than what we had in the first period.
Good chance there from Gabe Frasca, but the offense for the Otters, they're kind of starting with their fourth line of Murray, Cooper, and Tyler Challenger, a guy with a bit of potential for the Erie Otters team. He was the 11th overall pick last season by Erie, but its play hasn't really translated over from the minor levels. Only 12 points through 2 seasons, a goal and an assist through 22 games so far this year.
Face-off one by the Otters. Ambrosio shot from the point, bouncing off a few legs in front. Picked up here by the Colts. Edgar gets it ahead for Aitchison. He's going to flip this one deep. Erliden takes a swing at it. Carter Lowe back to Aitchison. He fans on it. Otters get it out. Here's Deck. He'll send that one forward to Edwards. Dylan Edwards hits the brakes across to Frasca, but that pass went behind him. Carter Lowe gets a stick on it. Otters get it again. Back to the blue line. Ambrosio stopped by Jaswal. That goes to the corner. Newton trying to tie up his man. Battle ensues. Passmore is there as well for the Barrie Colts. Looks like Passmore is holding Michael Deck to keep him from falling on top of the puck. Good old teamwork there from Evan Passmore as the Colts get it out. Here's Eamon Edgar. Edgar will send that one to the far boards. Fraser trying to cut him off. Loose puck picked up by the Otters. Up the wing. Here's Deck. Deck flips that to the net. Misiak stopped by Jaswal. What a chance again for Alex Misiak. Colts trying to get it out. Here's Schneid. Schneid gets this one out to center ice. He'll chip that one forward. Sorry picks it up now for the Otters. Up ahead to Deck. Michael Deck. His first pass attempt blocked by Schneid. Puck goes to the corner. Otters with it. Edwards fanned on that pass attempt. Passmore will collect it and drops it there for Aitchison. Approaching the 5-minute mark of this second period. 1-0 for the Barrie Colts. Cole Baudouin, your goal scorer. Aitchison over to Passmore. Passmore up to Hemming. He'll go through the neutral zone. Hemming, he's tied up by Misiak, but stays with it. Hemming across, but Schneid couldn't get a stick on it. Schneid sends that behind the net. Picked up here by Baudouin. Cole Baudouin behind the goal. That's taken away. Otters with possession. Hughes trying to get it out of the zone. He takes a bump. Schneid gets in the way and sends it right back into the Erie zone. Erliden up ahead to Sorry. Sorry loses it there to Beaudoin. He'll send it back, but Eliasson wasn't ready for that pass. Emerton back in his own zone. He'll go to Eliasson. Gabriel Eliasson, long stretch pass. Hemming chips it into the zone, but it went off the linesman and ends up going into the bench as we get a bit of a break.
It's ton of action here so far. It's nice to get a break. And for the Barrie Colts, strong start to the period. They get the opening goal, but the Otters respond with a couple chances. Nishiak there, got Lone out front. Jaswal, it's had to be sharp here early in the second period.
So face-off at center ice. Face-off won by the Erie Otters. As Nick Frasca will send that one forward. Picked up here by Challenger. Challenger sending that into the Barrie zone to the net. Jaswal puts it to the corner. Challenger picking it up again for the Otters. Puck's in the corner. That pass taken away. Colts trying to get this one out. Slandra ahead for Desiderio. He'll dump it in. Puck goes off the end boards. Erliden, pretty active with his paddle, sends that to the boards. Colts are able to pick it up. Slandra back to Asadorian. His shot off the post. Alex Asadorian strikes iron as the Colts try to put more pressure on. Shot from the point, deflected wide. Those hands are firing that one from the point. Otters can't get it out. Taken away there by Desiderio. Loose puck. Otters get it back. They're going to send this one forward. Can't get out of their zone again. Now they'll get it out to center, but they put it back into their own zone. Now long pass up to Challenger. Challenger with a shot. That goes wide of the net. Armstrong gets to the loose puck. Long pass. That's deflected by Lowe. Doesn't go too far. Otters send it right back, but the nets come off behind the play. And we'll get a whistle. I didn't even see what happened with the net.
I didn't notice it either, but then when they went into the zone, Erliden's kind of just looking around like, you can't shoot on me. The net's off.
I didn't even notice the net came off. But what a pace in this second period. A much better game for both teams as they just go back and forth. Shots right now still favoring the Barrie Colts 15-11.
Yeah, it's been a pretty strong start for both teams, like you mentioned. And both the goalies been strong as well. Noah Erliden, a guy we remember from last year, the way he played at the Sadlin Arena, we thought he was going to be able to take this Erie Otters team far. It didn't go as great in the second half, but still a really strong and capable netminder for Irvin Jaswal. 912 save percentage on the season. Another strong game for him here tonight. And as long as Jaswal continues to play well, the Barrie Colts are going to be able to use him more and more and keep Ben Orebic kind of more rested up for playoff time, or maybe Jaswal's good enough to get some playoff starts as well. But you remember talking to someone and mentioning about Jacob Austin these last couple of years, and that 2 years ago, I mean, he started almost every game for the Otters or the Generals. And by the time they got to the finals against London, he'd given it all he had. He was dead tired, and that's what a quality backup can do. It can really rest up your starter and get you ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, if you're going to be a serious contender in the Ontario Hockey League, you need to have that strong goaltending. You need that good tandem. And right now, that seems to be what the Barrie Colts have, is Jaswal putting on a show here tonight. As the puck goes deep into the Barrie zone, Newton takes the hard hit, still able to make the pass to Edgar. Edgar enters the zone, goes to Lowe, takes his time. His shot over the net. Looked like it may have been deflected by Fraser. And that's going to go out of play, and we'll get a whistle.
A nice opportunity there by Carter Lowe. And, talking about those goaltenders, I mean, you look at the London Knights these last 2 years. Look at 2 years ago, Michael Simpson was obviously the main guy there, but Owen Wilmore was still a solid second option for them. Got into 23 games. Then last year, they had a pair of goalies, Austin Elliott, Alexei Medvedev. Those two went back and forth, and then Elliott took the reins come playoff time, and he looked great. And a lot of that had to do with how rested he probably was, because he was able to split starts with Medvedev.
Well, goaltenders are a strange breed. They want to play every game, but they still need to have that break. So I think it's a wise decision having Jaswal in net here tonight, as there's a chance for Sorry. His shot goes wide of the net. That's going to sail back to the point. Otters trying to keep it in. That's knocked away by Carter Lowe. Edgar pokes that one deep into the Erie zone. Edwards going to go pick that one up. Otters send it ahead. Out to the neutral zone, picked up here by Armstrong. Ethan Armstrong up to Newton. Newton chipped that one back. Sorry's going to come collect it here for the Otters. Far side, Otters moving this one ahead. That's Tristan Trevino. Near side for Deck, but he can't hold it. Puck bouncing off the end boards. Jaswal has to be careful. Frasca puts it in front, still loose. There's a shot blocked by Hanser. Puck comes back to the blue line. Otters with it. Here's Edwards. Fires, stopped by Jaswal. Puck still loose. Hanser will send this one around. Ambrosio sends it deep. Edwards back to Ambrosio, but he can't hold it. That's knocked out to center by Crombie. Edwards back in his own zone. That pass deflected. Crombie knocks it out of the air. Calvin Crombie sends it to the corner. Stewart in front, deflected. Erliden had the paddle down. Puck goes to the far corner, picked up there by Frasca. Eliasson keeps this one in at the point. That's going to go around the boards. Bodie Stewart behind the goal. Stewart from the corner, trying to go back to the point, picked up by Emerton. That's deflected. Side of the goal, Crombie. The puck rolled on him. That's knocked away. Otters regain possession. Michael Deck, he'll flip this one to the line, but not able to get that with Gardner. Back into the Barrie zone it goes, picked up here by Eliasson. Eliasson reaches center ice. He'll dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. The Barrie Colts right now making a line change. Beaudoin coming off the bench. He'll collect it. Beaudoin in a battle there with Fraser. Those two continue to battle. Challenger now knocks it free. Hemming trying to poke it there. Beaudoin's there as well. Hemming back to the line. Picked up by Eliasson. Up to Beaudoin. Beaudoin back to Emerton. Emerton with a shot. Stop it. It bounced for a moment. But the Otters goaltender able to hold on to it as it's just wave after wave with attacks here from the Barrie Colts.
Well, both teams' top lines playing really strong right now. I mean, Kraska, Deck, and Dylan Edwards come out there. They create a couple opportunities after the puck kind of hit off the side of the net. Jaswal didn't really realize what to do with it. And then Barrie Colts, they turn things around. Gardner comes back down the other way, creates some opportunities for the second line, and then they're able to bring out the top line. But once again, some really good opportunities from Beaudoin, Hemming, and Schneid.
Yeah, Cole Beaudoin, he opened the scoring and he crashed heavily into the end boards after deflecting it into the net. It was a beautiful goal, but that just goes to show his determination as Erliden makes another save. Hemming along the boards, blocked there by Sari. Beaudoin trying to get a stick on it. Tied up there by the Erie defenseman. Puck goes to the corner. Hemming knocks it behind the Erie net. He's going to chase it into the corner, reaching for it there. Beaudoin follows it up. Back to the line, Aitchison. He'll send it right back to the corner. Sari knocks it down for Erie. Otters get it out and down the ice. Won't be enough for icing. Evan Passmore back to collect it now for the Barrie Colts. We're approaching the midway point of this hockey game. Only one goal to report, and that came early here in the second period. Keishon Aitchison ahead for Beaudoin. Backhand pass. He'll find Schneid. William Schneid off the boards. Hemming lets that one go by him. Beaudoin behind the Erie net. He's tied up. Schneid will help him out. Loose puck picked up here by Beaudoin. Puts it in front. Hemming puts that one wide in the net. Great chance there for Emil Hemming. Colts still putting on the pressure here. Beaudoin trying to regain possession. Back to the line. Aitchison. He'll flip this one ahead. That one blocked by Agrette. And the Otters take it back the other way. Agrette receives the pass between the legs. Hughes, he's tied up, crashes into the end boards. There's already going to be a penalty for the hook. Hughes is getting up, but he looks a little dazed after crashing into the end boards. And the Erie Otters, they're now going on the power play.
Well, that was Nick Desiderio that had Hughes tied up there, and Hughes able to draw the penalty. And Argette, though, what a pass between the legs across to Hughes. Kind of set that penalty up.
Well, Desiderio really had no other choice but to tie up his man as the Otters, with that turnaround there, great chance. You mentioned Hughes with that between the leg pass. Almost looks like a skills competition with that play.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the second power play of the night for the Erie Otters. Face off to the right of Jaswal. Scrambled draw. It comes back to the point for Erie. Trevino ahead for Deck. Deck along the boards. He's tied up there. Frasca to Edwards in front. Bouncing around. Jaswal got the pad down. Rebound. They jam at it. Puck's still loose. Now we get the whistle. But how did Arvin Jaswal reach out with that left pad? That was outstanding.
Well, that was Jake Murray on the other side there, trying to create that opportunity. Found himself alone. Nice pass across to him, but Jaswal's able to stick the pad out, make another really big save. He's 12 of 12 so far here tonight.
Well, I know Jaswal missed some time due to injury, but he seems to be okay right now.
He looks no worse for wear. He can start again tomorrow.
Why not? Well, I'm sure Harabik would have a say about that. I'm sure he wants to play, but either way, it remains 1-0 power play down to a minute 44 for the Otters. Michael Deck has it along the half boards. Deck dropping this one back. Edwards takes the shot. That goes wide of the net. Gabriel Frasca on the far side, trying to send it back to the point. Good play there by Newton to take it away, and Schneid skates it up shorthanded. Schneid carrying it in for the Colts. Takes the shot. Misses that far post. Rebound picked up by Frasca. Drops it back to Edwards. Edwards through the neutral zone. Carrying this one in for Erie. Still with it. Edwards across, blocked by Newton, and the Colts cleared out again. What a great shift there. Jaden Newton, a couple of great blocks. As the power play for the Otters now down to 1:05. Deck from his own blue line sends that one around, and that's going to be an icing call against Erie. Remember, they're the team on the power play right now.
That feels more like the first period with the power play is just really not getting anything going right now. Now that'll allow the Barrie Colts to come out here and get a offensive zone draw shorthanded. Stewart and Salandra looking to maybe get something going here.
So the big faceoff coming to the right of Noah Erliden. 1 minute remaining in the penalty to Nicholas Desiderio. Faceoff won by the Otters. They're going to take this back around their own net. Trevino. He'll come out from the corner, taking his time. Trevino sends it across to Deck. Michael Deck, the former Owen Sound attack. Will pick up some momentum here from his own blue line. Deck carrying this one in, passes it across. Frasca sends this one down low to Edwards. From the corner across to Deck. Deck settles it down. His shot blocked by Emerton. Puck's in the corner, picked up by Murray. Fraser rather, at the blue line. Up to Deck. That pass is blocked by Emerton. Colts trying to get it out. Salandra had a stick tied up. Erie keeps it in. Here's Murray. Carrying it towards the net. Takes the shot. Stopped by Jazz while he's reaching behind. He has absolutely no idea where that puck is, but looks like it's staying out.
Yeah, usually that reaction means that Jaswal can feel it kind of squeaking through behind him, but
it's around here somewhere.
It's somewhere, and luckily for him, it wasn't behind in the net. Another save there, and 19 more seconds, and the Colts will be 2 for 2 on the penalty kill.
So faceoff will come to the right of Jaswal. We're down to 8:11 remaining in this second period. As Cole Beaudoin out there to take the draw against Hughes. Erie will win this one back to Ambrosio. Across, Otters with it. Trevino across, but Mishiak couldn't get there in time. Mishiak gets to that loose puck. He'll spin, comes back to the line. Mishiak, his pass blocked by Beaudoin, and the Colts get it out. 3 seconds left in the penalty. Beaudoin made that extra move. Hemming tried to keep that leg on the blue line, but that's going to be offside as Desiderio comes out of the box in 1 second.
Couple of real nice plays there from Cole Beaudoin. First, he's able to get a deflection on that puck that was coming from Mishiak over the middle, and then he's able to block off another pass, take it out the other way. And that's one of the best parts about Cole Beaudoin and Emil Hemming. When they're not scoring goals and getting power play opportunities, they're on the penalty kill here, helping out the Barrie Colts.
So the power play has come to an end. So Erie now 0 for 2 on the man advantage. Puck goes behind the Erie net. Erliden's there to play it. He's going to give it up to Trevino, up the wing. That's deflected. Icing is waved off. Puck bouncing off the back of the Barrie Colts net. Picking it up is Armstrong. They'll go to Aitchison. Backhand pass to Hemming. Emil Hemming enters the zone. Up to Beaudoin. That's deflected. Schneid couldn't get a stick on it. Challenger sends it ahead. Blocked by Hemming. Schneid on the wing. Passes it to Hemming. Behind the back pass to Beaudoin. His shot stopped by Erliden. What a pass by Hemming. Otters now get this one to the blue line and out. Through center ice. That's Hughes. Hughes will hit the brakes. Sends that one around. Aitchison behind his own net to play it. Kayshawn Aitchison. He'll pass that one ahead to Beaudoin. Beaudoin quickly across. Hemming trying to catch up to the loose puck. It's inside the blue line. Kept in by Armstrong. Down low is Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin from the corner. Fans on the first pass. Second pass blocked by Hughes. Beaudoin behind the Erie net. He'll pass this one back to the point. There's Ethan Armstrong. Back to Beaudoin. Puck's bouncing. Beaudoin back at the line. Over to Eliasson. Takes the far shots. And Erliden able to get a glove on it. And he's going to hold on with 6:42 left to go in the second period.
Oh, real nice play there, like you mentioned, Emil Hemming with the no-look pass across to Cole Beaudoin. They've been able to do that a couple times, and it's kind of similar to that line last year we saw Romani, Wakely, and Van Steensel. Whenever those three were out on the ice together, it felt like they just always knew where each other were. Van Steensel could be looking up at you and I in the press box, and he'd still just float it across the ice, and it would hit Romani or Wakely right on the tape.
Well, it just goes to show the chemistry those two have developed, Hemming and Beaudoin.
Yeah.
It's just something to see as the Erie Otters are going to send this one towards the nets. Jaswal not taking any risks. Got a bit of a snow shower there from Plant, but he's going to hold on for the faceoff.
Well, and Hemming and Beaudoin, they didn't really play together too much last season. Beaudoin was usually first or second line, and Hemming was kind of used as a third line player for Marty Williamson to kind of lengthen the lineup for the Barrie Colts.
Well, we kind of started to see it in the playoffs, Bodwin and Hemming, but yeah, you're right. For the most part, you would see Cole Bodwin and Riley Patterson. They had some great chemistry over the last few seasons, but now it's Bodwin and Hemming, which has really picked up since the postseason. So the Otters have it in the Barrie zone. They're going to send it back. Sorry takes the shot, kicked aside by Jaswal. On the far side, playing it there is Caden Edwards. Edwards tied up there by Gardner. That's taken away. Loose puck picked up by Coombs, blocked by Gardner. Puck's in the high slot. Sorry with the chance. Stopped by Jaswal as he makes the save and pounces on that rebound quickly.
Otters trying to tie this game up here. It's a game similar to last weekend against Oshawa, where their goaltenders playing great, keeping them in the game, but they aren't able to find the back of the net. And they do have the third least amount of goals in the OHL right now, so scoring definitely an issue for this Otters team.
Well, when you look at their top goal scorers, Michael Deck leads the way with 23 points. He only has 8 goals. And then on the goal scoring front, Frasca, 11, and then you've got Hammond with 9. But of course, he's not playing tonight, serving that 1-game suspension for that hit from behind in the game against the Oshawa Generals.
Doesn't help either. I mean, they got their 3 top players on one line, so there really isn't much going for Erie the lower you get in the lineup.
Face-off won by the Colts. 6 minutes now remaining in the second period. Very quickly getting it down ice. Erliden out of his net to play it. Gets to the line. Kept in. No. Desiderio not able to keep that one in for the Barrie Colts. And we'll do this face-off outside of that Otters blue line. But what a story this game has been. The first period, both teams, they were struggling. The defense, that was really standing out. But this second period, we've seen chances at both ends of the ice. The top talent on either side getting creative. We saw Hughes with that beautiful between the legs pass, and then Hemming with the behind the back. It's night and day difference between the first and the second.
Yeah, it's wild to see. I mean, that first period, I mean, there really wasn't anything going on for either team. Like you mentioned, it was a defensive battle, and that was the period with 4 power plays in it. Like you would have expected that there'd be offense left and right from the Colts and the Otters, but we've seen a lot of that here this period. Both teams with some really good opportunities, and we haven't really seen those top lines matched up against each other, and that's kind of allowed both of those lines to really go at it and get some really good offensive opportunity.
So we'll get this face-off now outside of the Erie Otters blue line. Alex Asadorian out there to take the draw up against Murray of the Erie Otters. Face-off won by the Colts. Armstrong sends it across to Hanser, deflected in by Desiderio. Erliden's going to play it behind his own net. Sends it around. Asadorian will get to it, trying to chip it back to the line. Armstrong shot's blocked as Challenger will get this one out to center ice. Tyler Challenger backhand pass, but that's knocked away as Cooper couldn't get a stick on it. Puck goes back into the Barrie zone. Here's Salandra over to Armstrong. He'll send it back. Here's Justin Hanser now. He'll skate this one up, reaches center ice, dumps that one in. Around the boards, Desiderio on the far side. Takes a bump there from Fraser. Back to the blue line. Armstrong takes the shots, and that's deflected. But Erliden, through the forest of legs in front of him, is somehow able to hold on to it.
Well, Erliden's been busy this period. Both netminders been pretty busy so far, but only that one goal right off the start of the period on the first rush into the zone by Cole Bodwin.
So going to face off now to the right of Noah Erliden. The Barrie Colts sending out Jaden Newton to take this draw with even Edgar and Carter Lowe on his wings. Passmore and Aitchison at the point. Newton will win that one back. Aitchison flips it back into the crowd. Colts with it. Nice shot just goes wide of the net. That was Newton. Up the wing, here's Edwards. He's got a break. Fans on the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. Along the boards, Edwards trying to play it. Back at the line. That's going to go around the boards. Carter Lowe. He's going to put it back behind his own net. No one there for the Barrie Colts. Newton comes across trying to play it. Frasca gets to it first for Erie. Gabriel Frasca coming back to the blue line. Backhand pass, but that's going to escape the zone. Erie with it again. They're going to dump this one in off the end boards. Jaswal plays it. Gives it up to Passmore. Loose puck picked up by Newton. That pass doesn't connect. Erie can't keep it in themselves. Sorry, we'll just dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Kayshawn Aitchison on the far side here to play it. Sets up Edgar. Edgar, nice little move there at the blue line. He'll skate this one ahead. Here's Carter Lowe on the wing. Lowe towards the net, takes the shot, scores! Carter Lowe fired it, and Erlin, he tried to get the glove, but that sneaks through. It's 2-0.
Well, it looked like Erlin may have gotten a piece of that one at first, but really nice shift from the Colts' fourth line. They had a couple opportunities. Erie goes back the other way, but then a quick response here from Carter Lowe. Comes into the zone, and big goal there for him. His first goal since way back about the fourth game of the year against the Sioux Greyhounds.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen Carter Lowe find the back of the net, and that might be what he needs to regain that confidence. I know Erlin got a piece of it, and it kind of rolled off his glove there, but still, that's getting the monkey off the back there for Carter Lowe.
Well, that's a guy that scored 15 goals last year for the Barrie Colts, had a really strong season, and they can get him back into last year's form. He's going to be a really big piece for the Colts.
So it's a 2-0 hockey game, 4:10 remaining now in the second period. Colts send it deep. The Otters there to play it, and Ambrosio sends that one around. Loose puck picked up by Beaudoin into the slot. Hemming, but nice play there by Mishiak to disrupt it. Another chance, and that's going to go wide of the net. Puck's in the corner. Cole Beaudoin there to pick it up for the Colts in front to Hemming. Hemming waits, fires, and that one's blocked by Hughes. Emerton there to pick it up now for the Colts. He'll send it behind the Erie net. Here's Beaudoin. Quick pass in front. Was trying to find Schneid, but getting a stick in the way there was Sorry. Fraser with it now for the Otters. He's tied up by Gardner. Hemming hits the brakes. Emil Hemming comes back to the blue line. It's Emerton. His pass picked up by Mishiak. Mishiak now with a breakaway for the Erie Otters. Mishiak stopped by Jaswal. Arvin Jaswal with a huge stop. Now the Colts come the other way. Cole Beaudoin comes off the boards over to Hemming. Hemming in around the net, trying the wraparound, but Erlin had the pad down. 3 minutes now remaining in this second as Plant will skate this one up for Erie, sends it across. Getting a stick on it there was Coombs. Coombs fires it from the point, takes a weird bounce. Jaswal able to make the save. Armstrong sends this one out to center. It's bouncing. Stewart can't find it. Puck sent right back to the Barrie blue line. Picked up this time by Hanser. Hanser's flip pass got away from him. Coombs across, but Hanser able to disrupt it. Puck goes behind the Colts net. There to play it is Armstrong. Colts will pick it up here. Here's Calvin Crombie. Crombie skates it ahead. He'll flip this one down the ice. That's going to go down, and that's going to be icing against the Barrie Colts. But a couple of missteps there from the Barrie Colts, but Arvin Jaswal able to bail out his teammates.
Yeah, it started with that Cole Emerton giveaway at the blue line, and then Mishiak goes back down the other way, tried to go blocker side, but right into the pad of Jaswal, and then Justin Hanser there. I think he was just trying to flip it out of the zone, didn't get enough on it, and the Otters able to quickly pounce on it, but good job by Hanser recovering and forcing a takeaway.
2.5 minutes now left to go in this second period. 2-0 for the Barrie Colts. Goals from Beaudoin and Lowe. 2:28 left to go in the period. Colts get this one out to center ice. Bodie Stewart's going to carry this one in. Puck rolled on him. Up ahead to Crombie. Calvin Crombie from the corner. He's knocked down by Frasca. Still trying to play it. What an effort. Puck comes back to the line for Aitchison. Aitchison, toe drag, and he had the puck stripped. Skating away is Dylan Edwards on a breakaway. Edwards on goal, backhand. Stopped again by Jaswal. Oh my goodness. Now the puck's taken away. Erie trying to put more pressure on. They keep it in at the point. There's a shot from Trevino. It's blocked. Colts get it out to center. That's back-to-back breakaways that Arvin Jaswal has robbed the Erie Otters. Aitchison behind his own net. Puck rolls in front. Picked up here by Edwards. Dylan Edwards from the corner, passing this one back to Deck. Michael Deck, his pass deflected. Nick Frasca at the blue line, sends it across. Gabriel Frasca now at the point. Takes the shot. That's blocked. Pucked in the corner. Edwards comes up with it for the Otters. Back to the line. There's the one-timer. Stopped by Jaswal. Rebound, and that's sent into the air. Ends up in the near side. Crombie can't get it out. Knocked down by Nick Frasca. Edwards gets it again for Erie. Sending this one around the boards. Far side, Aitchison after it. Deck sent it towards the net. Crombie was there. He'll take that to the corner. Otters trying to make a line change here. Colts forced back in their own zone with just over a minute remaining. Aitchison settling things down a bit here for the Barrie Colts. They're on their heels as we're now in the final minute of play in the second. Aitchison will give it up to Passmore up the wing. Desiderio got a stick on it, so no icing. Fraser there to play it. He'll send that one around. Murray Had it for a moment, knocked out to center ice. Eliasson will dump it in. Fraser sending that one around the boards. Kraska on the far side takes the hit. At center ice, chasing after it. Here's Challenger, can't reach it. In the neutral zone, taken away there by Asadorian. He's going to flip this one back into the Otters zone. 27 seconds remaining. There to play it is Nick Fraska. Taken away by Salandra at the point. That ends up back behind the Erie net. Salandra takes a bump from Fraska. Salandra gets it again from the corner. Back to the line, Emerton. Emerton takes the shot. Hit a player in front. That was Fraser. That stung. He looks hurt. He's skating to the bench, but the Otters move it ahead. Rolls to the nets. But there was a whistle. We didn't even hear it. And I believe that's going to be offside. But Fraser blocking the shot with the palm of his hand. He looks to be in some discomfort.
Yeah, rubbing the hand there. Now looks like he's going to just head off. The Barrie Colts there. A couple more giveaways. Kayshawn Aitchison letting the Otters come in on another breakaway. And again, though, Arvin Jaswal up to the task. He's really saved the Barrie Colts here late in the second period.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad turnover there from Kayshawn Aitchison. But Jaswal, he is dialed in as he's now had to face 22 shots from the Erie Otters. There's another one right at the buzzer. As the Barrie Colts up 2-0, 2 goals in the second frame. Now we get some pushing and shoving. Ritter Coombs in the center of it for Erie. But you have to figure the frustration's starting to build a little bit here for the Erie Otters. Right now, Coombs having a word with the official, Alex Asadorian, chuckling. But so after 2 periods of play, it's a 2-0 hockey game. But it's a good sign here. If you're a fan of the Barrie Colts, they woke up in the second period. Cole Bodwin with those drives, great passing from Emil Hemming, and then seeing Carter Lowe get a goal as well. That's a huge boost for this team.
Well, the top line and the fourth line for the goals. Evan Passmore still circling around, going at it with Coombs here. But yeah, the Barrie Colts looks like cooler heads are finally going to prevail. It was a really strong start to the period, and both teams kind of had some good opportunities throughout. I think in the final couple minutes there, Erie had some really good opportunities, kind of self-inflicted wounds by the Barrie Colts there with a couple turnovers. Emerton, Hanser, and Aitchison, half the defense. Some pretty bad giveaways for the Colts, set up some really good opportunities, but Arvin Jaswal has been perfect tonight, and that means the Barrie Colts have a 2-0 lead going into the third period.
And I know on our chat, there are a few fans who are big supporters of Arvin Jaswal. We saw the conversations up in Sudbury on Wednesday asking, why isn't Jaswal in net tonight? Well, he's here tonight, and oh my goodness, some of those saves he had to make, especially back-to-back breakaways, Mishiak and then Dylan Edwards, 2 of the more crafty players on this Erie Otters team.
Well, it's so nice for this Barrie Colts team. I mean, even through the struggles they had early in this season, to have 2 really strong netminders for the Barrie Colts. I mean, that allowed them to, it didn't really matter who was in net, Horebic or Jaswal. They were going to get a really good game out of them. If they keep them in pretty much every game that the Barrie Colts play this year. I mean, even when they were giving up 50 shots early in the season, Ben Horebic kept those games close. And it's something the Barrie Colts don't want to take for granted. I mean, these last couple of years, they've had some great goaltending duos, Ben West and Sam Hillebrandt, and Hillebrandt and Horebic into Horebic and Jaswal. I mean, there's some teams like the Sudbury Wolves, they're on to their 6th goaltender with the trade they made earlier today. So for the Barrie Colts, I'm sure they're really grateful for the goaltenders they have.
I don't know if we've got time to break into that conversation, talking about goaltending and the Sudbury Wolves, but we do have right now is the OHL news with Terry Doyle. But after that, we will open things up to the chat. So if there's anything you want to talk about involving this hockey game, the Barrie Colts, or the rest of the Ontario Hockey League, you can leave those comments there, and we will get to it after the OHL news with Terry Doyle.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of OHL News. Coming up on the show, we'll talk to one of the OHL's top scorers this season, who is headed to next week's CHL USA Prospects Challenge event. That's coming up in a moment, but first, this week's Cogeco OHL Player of the Week is Flint Firebirds forward Nathan Aspinall. He picked up 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points in 3 Firebirds victories last week. The 6'7" left winger was the New York Rangers' 5th round pick in the 2024 NHL entry draft and signed his NHL entry-level contract with the Rangers back in October. He certainly helped the Firebirds to a very successful first quarter of the season as they're in the thick of things in the West Division and the OHL Western Conference. Meantime, big news out of the OHL this week through the CHL, and that is that the Guelph Storm have been selected to host the 2027 Memorial Cup presented by Kubota. That's going to take place in the spring of 27, the 107th edition of the CHL's championship event, and will take place during the 200-year anniversary of the founding of Guelph, as they were established back in 1827. Congratulations to everyone involved in the bid committee, as certainly the Storm and the other finalists, the Kitchener Rangers, were identified as two very worthy hosts, with the Storm being named the host for the 2027 Memorial Cup tournament presented by Kubota. Nikita Klepov has taken the OHL by storm. The Saginaw Spirit forward has 32 points coming into this week's play, ranking him fourth in OHL scoring this season. Klepov is eligible for the 2026 National Hockey League entry draft and will take part in next week's CHL USA Prospects Challenge in Alberta. The first-round pick of the Spirit in the 2025 CHL import draft has really fit in well in the Ontario Hockey League, and we chatted earlier this week about coming into Saginaw. All right, so Nikita, to start with, here we are, 20 games roughly into your first OHL season. How have things gone so far with Saginaw?
It's been good. Just got to start winning more games, and a lot of games are going into the overtime, so we should start winning those. And
what's it been like just getting used to the OHL style?
It's obviously a little different than the USHL. There's a lot of great players. The hockey is probably a little bit more offensive here, so it's a little different hockey.
Did you find during training camp, and even into the start of the season, you just had to get used to maybe the OHL, just being a little faster, a little different? Did you find it took a couple of games to get used to it?
Yeah, it's a little different style of hockey, but I've had great line mates and great teammates, so they helped me a lot to adapt to this type of game. So it's been pretty easy.
Who has helped you with the Saginaw Spirit to get you used to being in the OHL?
I'd say all my teammates and the coaching staff. They help us. They do a great job with the developing young players. So they're really good. They really do a good job with this.
What has it been like playing for head coach Chris Lazary so far?
He's a great coach, one of the greatest coaches I've ever worked with. Very offensive style of play, and he really developed young players, and it's really enjoying to play for him.
Like a lot of OHL coaches, Chris is known to do a lot of video. In some of your previous stops, does Chris do more video than some of your other coaches?
Yeah, but all he shows us is very important stuff, very detailed coach. So it's really interesting to play for him, and all the job he does is excellent.
What led to your decision to come to the Ontario Hockey League?
Just overall league, and obviously the Saginaw is a really great team with good staff, and just I think right game that they play in here. It's just the right choice for me, I think.
Did you find it was the Ontario Hockey League was a place that was really going to let you grow as you want to be, of course, drafted into the NHL?
Yeah, I think it's the right spot for every young player who wanted to get drafted, and it's a great organization with great history, and yeah, just very happy I'm here.
For people who don't know, you've played in a lot of different places over your hockey career, but for people who don't know, fill us in. Where have you played as you've been growing up?
I played in Russia until I was like 15. Then I played, this is going to be my third year in the US. Last year I played in USHL, and the year before I played in AAA team.
Now for you, I understand, were you born in Florida?
Yeah, I was born in Florida, but I grew up in Russia, and pretty much I lived there my whole life. So yeah, I played hockey there till I was 15, as I said, and now I'm in the US.
Moving to the US at a young age, you played in Wilkes-Barre as well. Did you find it took a little bit of time just to get used to living in North America?
Yeah, I had a lot of Russian guys who helped me to adapt, so that was pretty easy, and a good coach there too. So it was pretty easy to adapt.
Next week, you're going to get a chance to play in the CHL US Top Prospects game. What are your feelings going towards that?
Just very excited about that. It's a short tournament. Got to show our best as a team and hopefully get a chance to win.
Is that a case kind of like probably some stuff you did back home where short tournaments, you just have to get used to new teammates very quickly?
Yeah, we've done a couple of those tournaments, but this is a special tournament one for sure. It's a lot of great players from each team, and just gonna have a great team and trying to win both games.
When you meet new teammates and get used to new teammates, do you find that once you guys get into a practice, you guys can just kind of figure out even a brand new teammates, you kind of figure out very quickly what you want to do and how to work together?
Yeah, it's always fun to play with the best players in your age group, and I think we're gonna have a really good team. And yeah, it's those tournaments are always fun to play at, and just another chance to show yourself.
For people who haven't had a chance to see you play a whole lot so far, how would you describe your style of game?
I think just offensive player, just have a good hockey IQ and play for the team.
What sort of things do you find you want to work on to become a better player, obviously with Saginaw and down the road when if you want to play in the National Hockey League?
I'd say everything. You obviously gotta improve everything every day, and just want to work on both sides of the puck and become a two-way forward, kind of.
That was Saginaw Spirit forward Nikita Klepov. Before we go, here's a look at this week's CHL Top 10 rankings. The Brantford Bulldogs continue to be the #1 team in the nation. The Windsor Spitfires at 6 and the Ottawa 67s at number 8 wrap up the OHL representation. That's going to do it for our show this week. You've been listening to OHL News. I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us.
So it's the second intermission here from the Erie Insurance Arena. The Barrie Colts right now up 2-0 on the Otters. And for Erie, it's been tough sledding these last couple of games. Shut out 1-0 against the Oshawa Generals to wrap up the road trip last weekend. And now still having a hard time finding the back of the net. But the Barrie Colts, what a second period. Cole Beaudoin, Carter Lowe, your goal scorers. And really, this Colts team, they flipped a switch after what we saw in that first period.
Yeah, I mean, between the first period and then that third period the other night, it felt like the Barrie Colts were really going through it a little bit. I mean, that third period, even though they scored 3 goals, was a bit of a struggle. They got outshot 20-5, and here to start the game, didn't really feel like they were getting much going offensively, but then they looked like they had been shot out of a cannon when they came out for the second period. I thought Erie was the better team really late in that period, kind of similar to how Barrie had a really strong finish to the first, so maybe Erie comes out flying here in the third period trying to get a response. I mean, this is a team that hasn't scored in almost 2 whole games.
Yeah, so this is, you'll expect Erie to have some desperate hockey coming up, but it's a busy night around the Ontario Hockey League. So let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard between Flint and Brampton. After 2 periods, they're tied at 1 apiece. Brantford Bulldogs 6-1 right now on the Sarnia Sting. Things not going too well for Sarnia. over in Kitchener, this is the big game tonight. The Rangers and the 67s tied at 2. So that one going back and forth. The Kingston Frontenacs and Peterborough Petes, they're tied at 2 at the start of the third period. Oshawa helping out the Barrie Colts tonight, right now at 4-0 on the North Bay Battalion. Coming into tonight's action, North Bay 2 points back of Barrie for first in the Central Division. So if the scores are the way they are, the Barrie Colts are going to have some leverage in the division. This score is surprising. Sudbury up 3-1 on the London Knights. Wassland opened the scoring, and Sudbury scored 3 unanswered to take the lead. Actually, no, I'm seeing the update. It's now 3-2, so the Knights are back within 1. That's in the third period. The Windsor Spitfires up 3-0 on the Saginaw Spirit after 2. Owen Sound up 5-3 on the Guelph Storm, and that's at the start of the third period.
Now, just a note as well, I've been looking online. Caden Petrie in 064 for the Flint Firebirds. He's out of the lineup tonight. Nothing official yet, but heard some rumblings at the North Bay Battalion. We're looking into grabbing an 06 forward from the Flint Firebirds. So could be interesting to see over the next couple of days. Maybe by the broadcast tomorrow night, we have official word on that one and we can talk about it.
Yeah, we may have a trade to talk about with potentially Petrie moving on out of the Flint Firebirds. But we are in the second intermission. We're going to open up the chat for conversations. I noticed that the fandom of Arvin Jaswal continues to grow, and I also saw that they're commenting on the conversations with the home broadcast. I got to do a shout out to Trevor Cabea, the play-by-play guy for the Erie Otters. His suit is amazing. It's got a bit of a sparkle to it, and it's he does a fantastic job for the Erie Otters organization. But the fandom of Arvin Jaswal continues to grow.
Yeah, well, shout out to him and his color guy as well. I mean, they are so friendly and welcoming us here to Erie and getting us all set up with everything we needed. We even got really nice nameplates there with the Otters logo on it and everything. I mean,
I know
amazing.
I know Gene Pereira is listening, so I'm just going to show him what he's missing out on. You're missing out on nameplates with the Erie Otters logo. So great touch by the Erie Otters organization. Very welcoming, and it's great to be here at Erie Insurance Arena. And what can you say? Such nice guys here off the ice.
Like you mentioned as well about this arena in the first intermission. I mean, it really looks like an arena that I wouldn't mind seeing a Memorial Cup in one day. And I'm sure the Saginaw Spirit, the way they put on the Memorial Cup a couple of years ago, I'm sure that helped these American teams like Erie and Flint maybe have more of an opportunity at potentially hosting the Memorial Cup.
Well, after covering this league now for however many years, coming here to Erie, this place was a little on the grungy side. It was the Tullio Arena, and they renovated the place when they drafted Connor McDavid. They knocked out the one wall. I remember there was a giant tarp at one point. Birds were in here during game time. The broadcast booth was on a card table on the other side, and since then, they've done an amazing job here at the Erie Insurance Arena, and it's great we have an amazing broadcast vantage point as well.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, there's literally no obstruction in the way. We can see everything perfectly without even having to move our heads. And I think my favorite part of the arena is that it's right beside the Erie Seawolves ball diamond, the home of the AA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. So I was thinking, you can go back to the hotel tonight. Just leave me here. I'm going to play a little bit of baseball.
Well, suit yourself because it's a little chilly out there. But also in the comments, I see Alexander seems to be having a great time. He loves the Colts, love the emojis. Alexander, thanks for tuning in. Kyle loves the channel. Well, Kyle, we appreciate you tuning in. For Tammy, she says if Barrie Colts win, it'll be Jaswal's 2 times getting a shutout.
Don't say it.
I'm sorry. I'm just reading the comments section.
You're fired.
And then Coffee Household says, unfortunately, the Flow Hockey stream is completely down. Well, our apologies, although we have nothing to do with the Flow Hockey stream, but we're glad that you can tune in and still experience the Barrie Colts broadcast here on the road.
Yeah, it seems like some fans have had some issues with getting their streams to work, and I think both sides are kind of, not really sure if it's the television networks or Flow Hockey. Some people saying some people saying the other.
Yeah, it all depends on who you talk to. But that's out of our pay grade.
Yep.
We just call the games, and so hopefully if you are tuning into the game and having our audio over top, hopefully that will be able to work itself out. But we do have the players back on the ice, so we're going to get ready for the third period of play between the Barrie Colts and the Erie Otters. What an entertaining second period that was, as the Colts, they just woke up and turn this game around.
Yeah, they were fantastic in the second period, like we've mentioned a couple times, and they've still got 20 minutes to go. I mean, they were looking really good through 2 periods the other night against Sudbury, and it was a really tough third period for them, but they've somehow, some way found a way to get the job done. And I think this time for the Barrie Colts, I think Dylan Smoskowitz wants a complete effort here to end it off. He doesn't want to get into the bad habit of winning games you didn't deserve to win and kind of thinking that it's okay to play a bit bad.
So the third period about to get underway here between the Colts and the Otters. You have the Erie Insurance Arena. As we'll get the face-off at center ice, Beaudoin set to take the draw here against Frasca, and we are underway. Colts get it back in their own zone as Emerton's going to send that one ahead. Hemming got a piece of it. Beaudoin follows it up. Beaudoin into the attacking zone, has stick tied up there by Frasca. Puck goes to the corner. Beaudoin trying to move that one around. Edwards ahead for Frasca. Sent across. The Otters trying to move this one out. That's Deck. He takes a hit there from Hemming. Eliasson comes up with it in his own zone. Up to Schneid. He gets it into the Erie zone. There to play it is Ambrosio. Fans on the first attempt. Goes back behind his own net. That's going to come out to center as the Colts complete a line change. That's Evan Passmore. Skates it up to Beaudoin. Beaudoin takes the shot. That's going to go wide. Puck sails to the far side. Picked up by Hughes. Hughes skates it out for the Otters. Facing some pressure there. Knocked away by Stewart. Puck comes around. Justin Hanser with possession now for the Colts. Up ahead. Picked up by Edgar. He's going to dump this one in. Far corner. Edgar's going to go after it himself. Hughes trying to chip that one out. Edgar at the point. Ahead for Gardner. That got away from him. Collected again by Callum Hughes. He'll set up behind his own net. Facing pressure from Gardner. Nearly gave that one up. Otters flip this one out to center. That's going to bounce down the ice. Icing's waved off as Eliasson will come to play it. Eliasson, though, gives that one away. Gave it right to Agret. Puck's on the far side. Gardner will take it for the Colts. Up ahead. Stewart gave that one away. Otters right now trying to make a line change. Colts will dump it and make a line change themselves. Trevino will move this one up the wing. That went off Coombs, and the Colts send it right back into the Erie zone. Sorry, there to play it now for the Otters. He's going to chip that one back. Erie with possession, forced deep in their own zone again. Sorry takes the hard hit. Run into there by Salandra. Desiderio gets the loose puck in the corner. Salandra in front, but that went off the heel of his stick. Otters trying to get it out. Turned over again. Acidorian over to Salandra. Stopped by Erliden. Hanser at the line. He'll pass this one forward. Puck goes to the corner. Acidorian is there for the Colts. Back behind the Otters net. Taken away by Salandra. That puck stolen by the Otters, and they're going to skate this one out. Plante sends it across. Coombs makes the move. Cuts the middle shot. Scores! Ritter Coombs finds the back of the net as he crossed into the middle. And it's now 2-1.
Well, a nice play by Coombs there as he was able to work around Justin Hanser. And Coombs was the guy kind of getting into it with the Barrie Colts at the end of the second period. So I'm sure he'll have a few words for the Barrie Colts bench. And Barrie right now trying things a bit differently defensively. Gabriel Eliasson was out with Ethan Armstrong, and then Justin Hanser was out there for goal against on Cole Emerton. And Coombs just made it look really easy getting around Hanser. Not much of an effort there. And then Emerton's the only defender out front trying to play it smartly to make sure he can't pass the cross, and that gives him a free shot on Jaswal.
So Ritter Coombs finds the back of the net for the Erie Otters, making this a one-goal hockey game.
It's your fault.
I'm sorry, I was reading the comments.
Well, Tammy's blaming you too. She...
Oh. Next time, if I see the words in the comments, I'm not saying it. Well, right now, they're actually on the phone, so hold up. They maybe they'll review this. The timekeeper is telling the officials to wait. Still no thumbs up. He's on the phone. They're taking a look at this. There's the thumbs up. See, we were talking about reviews in the first intermission, so I wasn't sure if we were going to be having one here now. Because we talked about it.
Yeah. Well, that only works for some things.
Right. Colts send this one into the Erie zone. Otters move it ahead. Murray sends that one ahead. Eliasson back behind the net. Over to Lowe. Carter Lowe with possession. Moves it up to Newton. Jaden Newton will skate this one out for the Colts. Newton up to Edgar. Edgar inside. Takes the shot. That's going to go over the net. Passmore takes the shot from the point. That goes wide. Ends up in the corner. Good work there by Edgar into the slot. Newton behind the back pass to Passmore. He'll take the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. At the blue line, it's Eliasson. Edgar will let that one go by. Carter Lowe behind the net. He's tied up. Murray back for Erie. Newton, though, gets to it first. His stick's knocked out of his hands. Puck comes to the near side as the Otters just want to get it out. Here's Eliasson at center. He's just going to dump this one back into the Otter zone. Ambrosio sending it back. In the corner, A.J. Gladman. Gladman passes it ahead. Here's Gabriel Frasca. He's picking up momentum through the neutral zone. Frasca across. Armstrong knocked that one away. Bodwin will get it out for the Colts. Emil Hemming dumping this one in for Barrie. Ends up back behind the Erie net. Sari is there. Takes a hit from Schneid. Cole Bodwin across. Trying to knock it down was Hemming. Sari comes up with it again for Erie. Out to center ice. Deck couldn't hold on to it. Frasca follows it up. Gabriel Frasca with a shot. Turned aside by Jaswal. Cole Bodwin. He'll skate this one forward. Here's Schneid on the wing. William Schneid flips this one into the Erie zone. Hemming gives chase. Hemming back behind the net. Schneid's there to play it. Loose puck picked up by the Colts. In front, Frasca blocked that pass attempt. Hemming still with it. Comes off the boards. That's knocked away by Edwards, and the Erie Otters get it out. Deck will send this one off the end boards. Jaswell puts to the corner. Hands are after it. Knocked away from Deck. Colts move this out to center ice. Eamon Edgar doesn't get it too far as Fraser was in the way. He's going to peel back into his own zone. Long pass. Hughes tried to get a stick on it, but that's going to be icing. But it looks like we're also getting a penalty on the play here. I think it's going against Eamon Edgar. Or no, they're pointing at somebody else on the Barrie Colts bench. Or is it too many men on the ice? Yeah, too many men on the ice against the Barrie Colts.
Well, what you want to see if you're Barrie Colts right now, the Otters got a solid start to this third period, and it's going to set the Colts up, or the Otters up, with another power play. They're 0 for 2 so far tonight, a chance to get things going here and tie this game.
So it's going to be Edgar serving the penalty here for the Barrie Colts. Erie already 0 for 2 on the power play tonight. We'll get the face-off to the right of Jaswal, although it was supposed to be an icing.
Yeah, now they're figuring that out.
So yeah, now they're having the conversation.
Usually it goes out to the face-off line.
Yeah. No, they're going to keep it in the Barrie zones. Next set. Shouldn't it come outside the blue line?
I think so.
At least because it's icing?
Or maybe they discussed it and thought that the guy got the deflection then, maybe?
Either way, they drop the puck. Power play underway now for the Erie Otters, and they get it out ahead. Here's Carter Lowe, shorthanded into the Erie zone. Lowe behind the Otters net. He's all alone, so he's going to take time off this Erie power play. Power play down to 1:45 now as Fraser forced back behind his own net. This has been the story tonight for the power play for Erie. Just haven't been able to get too much pressure as they carry this one up now. As a Gretz pass knocked away by Gardner. Still at center, Mishiak comes back to his own blue line. Mishiak drops it back to Fraser. Fraser sends it across. Mishiak through the neutral zone, weaves his way into the attacking zone, takes the shot. That's blocked by Passmore. Puck's bouncing. Agret sends this one back to the line. Fraser across. Agret moves it up, takes the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. Agret sends it back to the blue line. Fraser with it now for Erie. Takes the shot. Stopped again by Jaswal. And the Colts get this one out. Big save there from the Colts netminder. Erliden well out of his net to play it. He's comfortable with that puck. He'll give it up to his teammates as Dylan Edwards will pick up momentum coming out of the zone. 48 seconds left on the man advantage. Edwards drops it back to Frasca. Frasca sends it to the line. No one there. Deck will find it. Near side for Frasca. Down low to Edwards. Back to the line. Trevino with possession. Trevino over to Deck. Down low. It's Mishiak. Back to Gabriel Frasca. Settles it down. Frasca drop back to Edwards. Edwards back to Frasca. Gabriel Frasca sends it back to Edwards. Takes the shot. Score! Was right under the bar. What a shot from Dylan Edwards. And this game is now tied at 2.
Really nice play there between Frasca and Edwards very excited after that goal to tie the game there for the Otters, his 9th of the season. And Erie continuing to ramp up that pressure to start this period, and that penalty to Eamon Edgar for too many men leading to the goal. It's a real nice shot by Edwards going upstairs as Praska passes it across to him. He was open through the middle, steps up and goes far down on Arvin Jaswal.
That's now 9 goals on the season for Dylan Edwards, as this is a brand new hockey game tied at 2. Under 14 minutes remaining now in this third period. Puck goes back behind the Colts net. Aitchison up to Schneid. Schneid will send this one out to center ice, catching up to his Beaudoin. He'll dump this one in. Ends up back behind the Erie net. Ambrosio trying to play it. Beaudoin comes up with it for the Colts behind the goal. Schneid trying to get a stick on it. It was at the side of the net. Hemming back to Aitchison at the point. Aitchison will send this one around. Beaudoin in the corner. Takes the hit from Fraser. Gets up. Puck's in the corner. Hemming back to Aitchison at the line. Kayshawn Aitchison over to Passmore. Takes the shot through the crowd. Erliden the save. Desiderio trying to get a stick on it. Puck's in the corner. It's blocked, and now the Otters will get this one out to center ice. Picked up there by Coombs. Coombs knocks this one into the Barrie zone. Off the end boards it goes. Both teams are going to make line changes as Passmore gives it up to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison, he's going to take his time here directing traffic. Now he'll move it up. Aitchison up to Asadorian. Asadorian has that one get by him. Catches up to it again. Asadorian takes the shot. Stopped by Erlin, and he looked behind. But he's able to hold on as Alex Asadorian suddenly found himself a clear path to the net.
Yeah, good opportunity there for Asadorian on the third line, trying to give the Colts back the lead. I'm sure it's a pretty big weekend for him. I mean, going back to Niagara again to play his former team in the Ice Dogs, and already earlier this week playing his former team in the Sudbury Wolves.
Well, we've seen a lot of the Sudbury Wolves, and Asadorian being well acquainted with his former teams. We even saw that when we were in Niagara last time. Asadorian scored his first goal as a Barrie Colt against the Niagara Ice Dogs, so I'm sure he's excited to be back in the Meridian Center tomorrow. And of course, that broadcast will be here on the channel. We'll have the live stream underway at 6:45, puck drop at 7. But here in Erie, we are tied at 2.
Well, the Barrie Colts have a lot of old friends in the division right now. They get to see Riley Patterson and Grayson Tiller tomorrow. Whenever they play North Bay, you got to see Shamar Moses and Parker Vaughn. And of course, they got Asadorian here that played on 2 teams, Niagara and Sudbury, in the Central Division.
So we'll get a face-off now to the right of Erliden. Asadorian will take the draw up against Callum Hughes. Asadorian trying to just take it to the net. That was blocked. And the Erie Otters will get this one out. It's Mishiak through the neutral zone, knocked away by Armstrong. Armstrong up to Asadorian. He's going to skate this one ahead, reaches center ice, dumps this one into the corner. Asadorian chasing after it, off the end boards. Desiderio's there, picked up by Salandra. Back to the line, Hanser takes the shot. That's blocked. Puck goes to the corner. Trevino trying to get a stick on it. Behind the net, sorry. He's tied up, ends up in the corner. Agret back to collect it now for Erie. Hanser along the boards, back to Desiderio. Nicholas Desiderio behind the Otters net. He's tied up by Trevino. Puck goes to the far side. Sorry sends this one up the middle. The Otters able to get this one out. Hughes has that knocked away from him. Agret turns it over, picked up here by Desiderio. Back to Asadorian. Asadorian with a shot, and that one blocked by Lucas Ambrosio. Under 12 minutes now remaining in this third period. Tied at 2 is Mishiak. He's going to gain some momentum, gets it out of his own zone. Mishiak carries this one in, surrounded by white sweaters. Following it up there for Erie was Tyler Cooper, but that's taken away. Now Crombie will send it in. Off the end boards, Erliden decides to cover it up. Usually he's the one that wants to play it, but this time he's going to take the whistle.
Well, pretty nice shift there by the third line of Asadorian, Salandra, and Desiderio as they try and get the offense back going for the Barrie Colts. It's been a bit of a slow start for Barrie so far here in the third period. Erie with a few more shots than them, and the score now tied 2-2.
Yeah, shots right now 27-22 in favor of Erie, playing a much better third period as they were down by 2 coming into this final frame. Puck's going to go deep into the Barrie zone as Cole Emerton taking it back behind his own net. Emerton, he's going to leave it there for Eliasson. Gabriel Eliasson taking his time. Now he'll move it up. Here's Emerton on the wing. Sends that one forward. Gardner chips it into the Erie zone. Trevino's there to collect it for the Otters. Back behind the net is Sorry. Trying to go back to Trevino. Puck's in the corner. Challenger loses it. Stewart takes it away in front. No one was there. Backhand. Stopped by Erliden. What a save and a great chance for Crombie. Crombie still has it down low. Back to the line, Emerton. Emerton will send that one around, ends up in the corner. Bodie Stewart's tied up, trying to get a stick on it. Gardner behind the Erie net. Brad Gardner into the crease, stopped, rebound, they jam at it. Erliden had that pad down and somehow keeps that one out as Bodie Stewart robbed on the doorstep. Now we got a couple of players mixing it up. Looks like Crombie right now in the middle of it.
Well, Crombie and Bodie Stewart got to be very frustrated right now. First, Crombie working around Erliden right out front of the net and a huge save to start that shift. And then Gardner, a perfect pass to Stewart. Looked like an easy tap in, and Erliden's somehow able to get that pad across and make another fantastic save.
Well, that line was just buzzing around the net and creating those turnovers, and that forecheck just powering over the defense of the Erie Otters. But Noah Erliden, that last line of defense, able to make the save. 10:46 left here in the third. Face-off won by the Otters, and Broggio's going to send that one back. Fraser ahead. Edwards turns it over, gave that one to Schneid. Emil Hemming gets it out of the air. Hemming along the boards, down low to Baudouin, back to the line, picked up here by Aitchison, takes the shot, hits a player in front. Otters get this one out down the ice, but that pass doesn't connect. And that's going to be icing against the Erie Otters. And that's one thing I've noticed in this game with Erie. A lot of their passes just being picked off, especially when they're going into the middle.
Yeah, the Colts have done a good job getting in front of those passes and not letting them go much further. We saw William Schneid there knock that one pass down and keep up the offensive zone pressure for the Colts. And eventually it leads to an icing and another draw inside the zone for Barrie.
So face off to the right of Erliden, won by the Colts. Kayshawn Aitchison at the line. Up ahead, Hemming can't get a stick on it. Schneid taken into the boards. Schneid trying to keep it there. Puck rolls behind the Erie net. Otters with possession. Ambrosio sends that one forward to Deck, but ends up putting that onto his own bench. So we'll keep this face-off back in the Erie Otters zone.
Another offensive opportunity for the Colts here, and started with the Asadorian line starting to get a couple opportunities, and the Gardner line really took over. And Baudouin, Hemming, and Schneid, they haven't really had any shots to the net yet, but they could keep the puck in the zone.
The face-off to the left of Erliden. 10-11 left now in this third period. Cole Baudouin ready to take the draw. Gabriel Frasca is being tossed out. He doesn't agree with it. He's arguing, and he's saying he's staying put. Okay, well, I guess his argument was valid.
Players should try that more often.
Usually that doesn't work.
No, I stay. Okay.
All right. Cole Baudouin has it in the corner, trying to pass it back to the line. Aitchison can't keep that one in the zone. Aitchison from his own blue line, facing pressure there from Edwards. Aitchison with it. He'll skate this one ahead. Baudouin got a piece of it. Deck was in his way. Colts want a penalty, none coming. Otters with it in their own zone. Past the midway point now of this third period. Edwards at center. That pass deflected. There's the shot that goes over the net. Firing that one was Caden Edwards. Colts take it back the other way. Baudouin has that go between his skates. Coombs, he's falling over. Near side for Hemming. Emil Hemming inside the blue line. Spins, trying to get around Trevino. Hemming again, back to the line. Hands are at the point, takes the shot. Blocked in front. Carter Lowe jams at it. That went on the line and stayed out. How did that not go in? Far side, there's the shot. Kicked aside, rebound. Colts can't get to it. Jaden Newton was in front. Newton kicks it to the boards. Trying to get a stick on it. In the corner is Hemming. Trevino. He's tied up. Taken away there by the Colts. Carter Lowe goes to Hemming behind the net. Back to Lowe. Carter Lowe has it in the corner. Back to Hanser at the blue line. Hanser waits. Fires. That one's blocked. Gets his own rebound. Hanser again towards the net. That hits the side of the goal. Carter Lowe back to the blue line. Kept in by Armstrong. Back down low to Newton. Jaden Newton in front. No one there. Plunk got a piece of it. Otters trying to get it out. There's another turnover, but it bounced over the stick of Jaden Newton. Coombs just wants to get it out. Put it off Newton. Puck stays in the Erie zone. Carter Lowe surrounded by yellow sweaters. Newton has it now, but can't get it forward. And the Otters finally get it out. Challenger sends it ahead to Plont. Plont enters the zone, takes the shots, and Jaswal flashes the leather. And he'll hold on for the faceoff.
Well, what a shift there by the Barrie Colts fourth line. It was off the end of the shift from the top line, and Carter Lowe and Jaden Newton come out there, create some great opportunities. I don't know how that Carter Lowe shot didn't end up in the back of the net. It was so close to going in, and he almost had his second of the night.
Well, I think I just saw the replay on the scoreboard. It looks like Carter Lowe put it off the post, and then it rode the line and went out. But Carter Lowe so close to getting his second of the night. There's a shot from the point, stopped by Jaswal. Puck's on the far side. Challenger trying to move it. Poked there by Stewart. Challenger again. His shot wide of the net. Puck comes to the near side. There to play it is Nick Frasca. Keeps it down low behind the Barrie net. Otters moving it around. Challenger puts it behind the net. Eliason, rather. There's a Erie player playing without a stick. That's Jake Murray battling with Eliason. And now the Colts will get it out. Murray can finally go get a new twig as the puck goes deep into the Barrie zone. Eliason's there to play it. Passmore back to Eliason. Gabriel Eliason sends it up the wing. Tipped into the zone there by Gardner, so no icing. Sarri's back to play it. Sarri will send it around. Deck has that one go over his stick. Otters trying to get to that loose puck. They will. Deck at center ice. Reaching for it is Asadorian. That's going to go deep. That hits a loose stick in the corner. I believe that's Jake Murray's. Edwards comes back to the blue line. Trying to get a lane to the net. Edwards shot stopped by Jaswal. Nice save there. Rebound. Stop again. And Edwards. How did that not go in? He's in disbelief laying on the ice. Was that Hanser who kept that one from going in?
I think it might have been Ethan Armstrong sliding across there. Oh, man. What a shift there for Edwards.
My goodness.
It started at the point. He was able to deke around a couple of Colts forwards, get a really good opportunity, and then no one really noticed him alone up the side. At first, a big stop by Jaswal. Then he comes up to the point, dives in for the rebound, and Ethan Armstrong sliding across. Don't know if it hit him or Jaswal, but if it didn't hit either of them, it would have been in the back of the net.
Well, Ethan Armstrong looked like a vintage goaltender trying to stack the pads. Otters keep it in. Frasca down low. Up the middle. It's loose, and they got that to the corner. Deck trying to send that one around. Gabriel Frasca to Dylan Edwards behind the Barrie net. Edwards trying to do the wraparound as that puck was rolling. Edwards stays with it. Comes back to the blue line. Takes the shot. Deflected. Puck's loose. Picked up by Emerton. Emerton take it behind his own net. Knocked down by Deck. Otters get it again. Edwards to Frasca. Blocked in front. Colts trying to get this one out. Erie is all over them. And now they'll get this one out to center ice. Kayshawn Aitchison in his own zone. 6:22 left to go in the third period. Aitchison being chased out by Edwards. Aitchison up to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin will skate this one in for the Colts. Gets by Sarri. Beaudoin in front. That's deflected. Emil Hemming gets the loose puck. Hemming drops it back to Emerton. Emerton along the wall gets to the corner. Beaudoin behind the Erie net. Cole Beaudoin from the far corner. He'll come back to the point as he does a lap in the Erie zone. Beaudoin still with it. Beaudoin has now done a complete lap of the Erie zone. He's still going. Cole Beaudoin takes the shot now, and it goes wide of the net. That's going to sail out to the neutral zone. Beaudoin's there again for Barrie. He is all over the ice this shift. Here's Hemming at center. They'll carry this one in for the Colts. That's knocked off his stick, and the Otters try and take it back quickly up the ice. Coombs takes the shot right on net, and Jaswal looked like he was thinking about playing it, but decides to hold on with 5.5 minutes remaining.
Nice play there by the Otters, forcing turnover at the blue line and not letting Hemming get far into the zone. Then they come back and force the whistle there. Well, it's 5:30 to go, and Barrie Colts team very familiar with overtime, and let's see, they may need to go to overtime again if they want to pick up the victory.
And you're telling me that I'm not supposed to say certain words, and here you are throwing the...
Someone already said in the chat, it's okay.
Yeah, but that's what happened with me.
Yeah, but...
And then everyone started blaming me after I read what was said in the chat.
Yeah, but that one was your fault.
I was just reading the chat. Apparently I was fired earlier. They said they were joking.
I wasn't joking.
Oh, well then. You can drive us home.
Oh. We might not make it far.
Anyways, here in the third period, we are tied at 2 as the Barrie Colts goals from Beaudoin and Carter Lowe. Those came in the second period, and for the Erie Otters, both goals in the third from Ritter Coombs and Dylan Edwards. As Erie has found a way to battle back. Face-off coming to the left of Jaswal. Gardner's going to take the face-off here against Jake Murray. Face-off won by the Colts centerman. Eliason comes out of the corner. He's going to flip this one in the air. Knocked down by Fraser. Puck got away from him. Sorry is there to collect it for Erie in front of his own net. Up the wing. Erie player there losing his helmet. Took a hard hit along the far side. That was Tyler Cooper. Otters take it back in front of their own net. That pass blocked there by Stewart. Following it up, Fraser takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. That's going to sail back to the point. Challenger takes the hit. Puck goes around the boards. Behind the net, Eliason ahead for Stewart. Cody Stewart's going to flip this into the Erie zone. Crombie trying to catch up to it. Dylan Edwards skates into Crombie, gets around him now. Edwards stopped there by Gardner, but then Gardner can't handle it. Puck will enter this neutral zone. Through center, Deck. That's blocked by Aitchison. Colts moving up. Here's Kayshawn Aitchison along the wing. Takes the shot, and Erliden able to get a glove on that one. As I'm starting to seem like this game, some cautiousness now starting to develop between these two.
Neither team really wanting to give away 2 points here tonight. And for Barrie and Erie, opposite conferences, it doesn't really hurt you too much if you go into overtime and give up a point to the other team. Just looking out of town right now, the game's gone final. The Oshawa Generals beat the North Bay Battalion 4-0, so the Colts can get maybe up by 4 points here in the Central Division.
Are you battling hiccups?
I might be.
We got a little bit of everything.
I ran out of water.
Oh, man. I think there's water on the other side of the press box.
The puck's far walk.
Puck's behind the Erie net. Colts trying to pick it up. It's Jaden Newton. Newton in the corner. Salandra knocks that one out of the air. Salandra back low to the point, to the net, and Salandra just put that one wide. Some quick passing there by the Colts. Salandra gets it again, comes back to the blue line. His shot deflected, goes to the far corner. Ambrosio bumps Newton off the puck. Now it comes to the near corner. Low delivers the check. Getting a stick on it there is Dylan Edwards. I think he's been on the ice this entire second half of the third period as the Otters get it out. Edwards flips this one ahead. Here's Gabriel Frasca. Frasca on his backhand. His shot stopped by Jaswal. And he's going to hold on to it. Now we've got Michael Deck involved in some pushing and shoving with the Colts defense.
A nice move there by Frasca trying to drive the net. And Michael Deck getting into it a bit. And it's a pretty decent ad for the Erie Otters. I mean, you look at this team. Brett Hammond is fourth in points. He's only got 12.
Are you okay there?
I'm surviving.
Here, how about I turn off your mic? You go get water. Oh my goodness. Can't bring Josh McCann anywhere. So face-off will come to the left of Jaswal. Face-off won by the Otters, but Aitchison gets to it, flips this one out. That's going to make contact with the Barrie Colts bench. So we'll bring this one back into the Colts zone. 3:31 still to go in the third period, tied at 2. And I see the chat getting pretty animated about that word that Josh McCann said a little while ago that I don't know if we're allowed to say. Are you better now?
I think so.
I have been in radio now for the last 17 years, and I don't think I've ever had someone break out in hiccups like that before. That is a first. Drink your water. Colts will send this one deep into the zone. Sorry there to play it. He's going to come around. Sorry has that poked away there by Bodwin. Schneid got that one in the way. Sends it back to the corner. Otters going back to the opposite side. Sorry. We'll flip this one out to the line. Schneid knocks it down, puts it back into the Erie zone. Sorry from his own face-off dot. Sends that one up through center. Bodie Stewart off the bench. He'll send it back to Emerton. Here's Kayshawn Aitchison. Aitchison ahead, but not able to stick on it was Bodwin, and that's now an icing call against the Barrie Colts.
Bodwin was close to getting a tip on that one, but just missed it. If he was able to knock it down, he would have had a bit of room going to the net there.
You're just having so much excitement. That's why these hiccups won't go away.
I'm having such a fun time in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Your first trip to Erie, and it's going to be a memorable one.
First trip to the U.S. in general.
There you go. So face off to the right of Jaswal. Baudouin taking the draw here against Murray. He's going to dig it free. Emerton over to Aitchison. Ahead for Bodie Stewart. Stewart, he'll carry this one out for the Colts. Sends it forward. Emerton will get to it. Sends it around the boards. 2.5 minutes remaining now in this hockey game. Tied at 2. Otters get it behind their own net. Challenger, he'll skate it around. Being pressured there by Gardner. Challenger losing it in the neutral zone. Taken away by Crombie. Calvin Crombie up to Gardner, but that bounced over his stick. Far side, Gardner takes that one away from the Erie defense. Gardner, backhand pass down low. Crombie up to Stewart. Stewart batted away by Erliden. What a play by the goaltender. At the line, pass more than Erliden crawling across with the blocker. What a save there by Noah Erliden, doing everything he can to keep this tied at 2. Gardner, his pass deflected, picked up there by Dylan Edwards. Edwards is going to skate this one out for the Otters. That pass knocked away. Colts take it up again. Gardner, backhand pass, trying to go to Crombie, but that's knocked away by Fraser. Dylan Edwards again here for Erie, passing it to Deck. Michael Deck to Edwards. His shot stopped by Jaswal. What a glove save there by Arvin Jaswal, but at the other end, Noah Erliden, just desperation to keep that puck from going in.
Well, Bodie Stewart got loose out front, and Erliden did a nice job getting his paddle out there to make the save. And then after that, I don't think any Barrie Colts except for Gabriel or Eliasson realized that Erliden was down and out and kind of scrambling around. Then Passmore finally able to get a shot off, but a couple Erie Otter players get out in front with the big blocks there.
Yeah, just outstanding play there by Noah Erliden. He's keeping Erie in this one. There's been so many turnovers tonight by the Erie Otters. Barrie just not able to capitalize on those chances in this third period. Puck goes to the corner. Erliden will play it again. Deck to the line. That will escape the zone. Aitchison fires it back towards the Erie net. We're approaching the final minute now of the third period. Fraser taking his time now for the Otters. Passing that one over to Sari. Sari slowly moves it ahead. Frasca tips it into the Barrie zone. Puck's rolling. Frasca cross it. Rolls. Jaswal makes the save. Dylan Edwards was right there on the doorstep, but couldn't put it over the pad. Trevino, back to Edwards, down low. In front, deflected, that stays out. Jaswal can't find it. Now it's Jaden Newton skating it up for the Colts. 45 seconds remaining in the period. That's going to roll behind the Erie net as Edwards comes back to collect it for the Otters. Dylan Edwards from his own blue line, weaving through center ice. He's going to flip this one in the air, ends up in the far corner. Eliasson's there to play it. He'll send it around. Schneid comes back for it. Plunk can't hold on to it. Eliasson gets it out. Schneid puts that one forward. After it is Hemming. Hemming had his stick tied up. Hemming gets it in the corner. 18 seconds left in the period. That pass is going to be deflected. Ends up in the neutral zone. Eliasson over to Aitchison. Keishon Aitchison up the wing. Schneid tips that one in the zone. Takes a hard hit. 8 seconds left in the period. Otters get it to the line. Not out. Eliasson. Aitchison winds up. His shot stopped by Erliden at the buzzer. 0.1 remaining on the clock. Keishon Aitchison with the clapper. But Noah Erliden says no.
Well, it was perfect there for the Colts. The guy you want in that final second moment. Aitchison was given some space alone to step up the wing. Had tons of room. And then Erliden able to stick out the pad to make the big save there.
Well, the clock says 0.1. It looks like they may want to add more time to the clock here as they get this face-off to the right of Noah Erliden.
I thought the whistle went around, I want to say 0.5.
What a difference.
Right.
So we'll get this face-off to the right of Erliden in a moment as they figure out the clock. Now they're just going to leave 0.1 up there. Everyone's lined up basically in front of Erliden. They drop the puck. And this game is going to overtime as the Barrie Colts, they had the 2-0 advantage, but the Erie Otters, scoring twice in the second, have forced the extra time.
Yeah, it was a good fight back by the Erie Otters here in the first half of the period. Looking back on this game here tonight, it was Cole Baudouin getting the scoring started early in the first period, and then was followed up by Carter Lowe, a nice shift by the fourth line to make it 2-0 for Barrie. I thought Barrie was strong at the end of the first and then carried that into the second, and then Erie did the same here from the second into the third. It was Combs getting the first goal to make it 2-1. Then the power play coming through for the Otters. Edwards with the goal to tie it at 2. Do you want to go through Towns, or do you want me to?
Well, I was just going to mention the Central Division teams.
Okay.
Because for the Barrie Colts, they've now extended their points to 11 games. So they get at least a point. And the North Bay Battalions still down 4-0 to the Oshawa Generals. So the Barrie Colts will move up 3 points at least over North Bay in the Central Division race. And this is a big score. The Sudbury Wolves have defeated the London Knights 6-3.
First star in that game was new goalie Bjorn Gronas, who they signed yesterday. 32 of 35. Nathan Villeneuve and Kieran Walton each with a goal and 2 assists.
But how about London? Back-to-back losses on the road through their Northern Road swing. A loss in North Bay last night and then a loss in Sudbury tonight. Very uncharacteristic of the London Knights. But right now it is overtime between the Barrie Colts and the Erie Otters. 3-on-3 overtime as Gabriel Frasca has it inside his own blue line. The Colts going with Baudouin, Aitchison, and Hemming as Dylan Edwards picking up speed through the neutral zone. Edwards in the middle, waits, fires, puts that one wide of the net. Puck goes to the far side. Baudouin protects the puck, gives that to Kayshawn Aitchison. Aitchison along the boards, passing this one across to Baudouin. Cole Baudouin trying to set things up. He'll go back to Hemming, who has it behind his own net. This is the usual suspects for the Barrie Colts when it comes to overtime. As Kayshawn Aitchison, he's been known as Mr. Clutch, drops it back to Baudouin. Baudouin through the neutral zone, weaving his way, but doesn't like what he sees, so he's going to peel back. At center ice, Baudouin has momentum. He'll carry this one in. Baudouin with a shot, and that goes wide of the net. Hemming keeps it in at the point. Emil Hemming down low to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison from the corner. He'll go back to Hemming. Hemming riding the blue line. He'll take his time here for the Colts. Overtime now down to 3:55. Hemming facing pressure. Frasca took it away, but then Baudouin gets it back behind the Erie net. Cole Baudouin comes out from the corner. Back to Hemming. Emil Hemming still with it towards the net. That pass is picked off by Fraser. Fraser's off to the races. Hemming trying to come back. Fraser with a shot stopped by Jaswald. Jaswald tried to play it, but got the quick whistle. But Garrett Fraser, the defenseman, getting a breakaway in overtime.
Well, Emil Hemming just tried to fire it to the net, get Cole Baudouin a tap in, and Fraser, the big interception there, goes back the other way. But it almost didn't look like he didn't really know what to do in that situation. It was probably a bit new to him. Big save by Jaswald, and you could tell as Emil Hemming was skating back, he was starting to get gas there.
Yeah, because he was been out there the entire overtime. So Fraser doing all that he could to get that breakaway, but Arvin Jaswald with a big save. So face-off here, won by the Otters. Back to the line, Agrette. He's just going to take it out of the zone. Out to center is Agrette. He's going to come back into his own end. Passing that one over to Trevino. Trevino going back behind his own net, trying to pick up some momentum here. Trevino up to Agrette. Agrette peels back to the opposite side. Now he'll enter the zone. Agrette has a lane to the net. Takes the shot. Stopped by Jaswald. Deck trying to get a stick on it, but it's picked up by the Colts. Cole Emerton. He's going to reach center ice. Looks back behind him. Passing it back to Gardner. Brad Gardner through the neutral zone. He'll carry this one in for the Colts. Drops it back to Crombie. Crombie loses the handle of it. He's able to recover along the boards. Deck, though, will take it away. Now it's Michael Deck off to the races. Deck drops it back to Agrette. Agrette shot puts it over the nets. Agrette had the whole top cage, but got too much under it. Sorry. Back into his own zone as both teams complete line changes. 2.5 minutes remaining in overtime. Sorry, he's going to take this one out from behind his own net. Julius Sorry passing that one ahead to Challenger. Challenger on the far wing hits the brakes. Challenger along the boards, down low. Plant, he has it in the corner. Plant comes back to the point. Staying with it here for Erie. That knocked off his tape, so he's going to come back into the neutral zone. Plant dropping this one back to Sorry. Sorry will go back behind his own net. Now we're down to 2 minutes remaining. Gives that one up to Challenger. Challenger hits the brakes. Goes to the near side to Plant. Plant enters the zone here for the Otters. Plant going around the Barrie nets. Stays with it. Back to the blue line. Here's Fraser. Fraser off the line. He's tripped up. Play will continue. Colts move it up 2-on-1. Kayshawn Aitchison, Asadorian shot stopped by Erliden. Kayshawn Aitchison takes it away at the point. Aitchison, high slot, takes the shot, and that's deflected out of play. As the Barrie Colts getting an odd man rush, the fans here feel that should have been a penalty, and they may have an argument.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a chance that was a trip, and I think there would have been some outrage if the Colts had scored there. Nice play by Aitchison. Mentioned it earlier with the power play that Aitchison's status kind of draws players to him. Both players go after him there, leaving Asadorian alone out front.
Face-off won by the Colts. Aitchison has it at the point. He's going to take it out of the zone. A minute 28 left to go in overtime. Kayshawn Aitchison at his own blue line gives that one up to Emil Hemming. Hemming skates this one into the zone for the Colts on the wing. Hemming hits the brakes, trying to keep it away from Edwards. Emil Hemming leaving it there for Cole Beaudoin. Beaudoin in the corner. He'll come back. Cuts to the middle. Beaudoin peels back to the blue line, trying to get some space. Beaudoin doesn't like what he sees, but he still has it. Beaudoin just going to skate this one out to center ice. Facing pressure there from Gabriel Frasca. Beaudoin carrying it in now for Barrie. Gets by Edwards around the Erie net. Cole Beaudoin still with possession. Back to the line. Hemming. Hemming doesn't take the shot. Stick handling his way there. Weaving to the middle, and that's poked away by Frasca. And that's going to escape the zone. 42 seconds now remaining in overtime. Hemming enters the zone here for the Colts. Runs into Edwards. Taken away by Gabriel Frasca. Frasca skates it up for the Otters. 32 seconds. Takes the shot. Kicked aside by Jazzball. Puck comes back to the point. Otters keep it in. That's blocked. Cole Beaudoin finds the loose puck. Beaudoin skating in for the Colts. He's taking his time. Cole Beaudoin weaves to the middle. Takes the shot. Stop there in front. In front. What a save by Erliden. He robbed Aitchison point blank. Another chance. And that goes wide of the net. Crombie after the loose puck. It's bouncing. 7 seconds. Crombie from the corner, trying the wraparound, taking his time. Now he'll pass it. That's stopped again by Erliden, and that will do it for the overtime period. My, oh my, those chances there late in the overtime period were huge, but Noah Erliden was outstanding.
Well, that was a couple of his biggest saves of the night. Kayshawn Aitchison had him beat. And Erliden somehow got across to make a huge save. It was a great play by Beaudoin. Kind of came out of nowhere there with it, looking to catch the Otters off guard. But Noah Erliden again, another fantastic performance tonight. 31 of 33 from him. See if the Otters can reward with a win.
So now this game turns into a skills competition, as it's going to be the shootout now between the Barrie Colts and the Erie Otters. So right now doing the dry scrape. Of course, with the new rules, we don't bring out the Zambonis anymore. So they just bring out the shovels so we can quickly get the shootout underway. But what an entertaining overtime period that was. Both teams getting quality chances.
Now both sides really went at it hard there. The Colts and the Otters both with some big chances. Marvin Jazzwell had to make a couple big stops, including a breakaway on Garrett Frazier early in the overtime.
So we're still waiting for them to finish the shovel of both creases. Looks like they're having some challenges out there on the ice right now. So hopefully we can get this shootout going in just a moment. But this has been a solid game here tonight, as the first period was a little concerning for both teams, as the offense just didn't seem ready to play tonight. Defensively, both teams were great, especially on the penalty kill. But once that second period got underway, the Barrie Colts just turned it on.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a game that was going to end with both teams nearing 40 shots. Currently 40-33 for Erie. But the second and third period, very entertaining. And then the overtime followed it up as well. And like you mentioned, that first period, it felt like we were destined for a 2-1 score, not because the goaltenders were stealing the game, but because there wasn't really many opportunities.
So the shoveling is still being done. It looks like we're just about ready to get the shootout underway. As the Barrie Colts, they do have some great options for the shootout. And we'll see who they go with. We got Calvin Crombie right now standing on the ice. And then, of course, for the Erie Otters, you can't go wrong with players like Dylan Edwards, Michael Deck, Gabriel Frasca. I wouldn't be surprised if those are their three shooters here.
Definitely, but you never know with the overtime. You sometimes get a guy you don't expect because the way they practice their shootouts.
Well, how about this? McLean Agrette will be the first shooter for the Erie Otters. So that was not a name that we said.
We're already wrong on predictions.
So they're just giving some final instructions here. Dylan Smoskowitz having a word with the referee. Looks like they might want to bring the shovel out again. I think there's something that Smoskowitz didn't like.
Well, they seem to be having a bit of trouble with Arvin Jaswal's net, but the referees were almost hinting towards that side.
Yeah, bring out the snow clearing team again. Oh, because Smoskowitz, I think he wants them to redo the end of the Erie Otters net with Erliden. So the three amigos with the shovels, they're back in it. They're back in action. Well, we'll get the shootout underway in a moment, I'm sure. Oh my goodness. So we'll get this shootout underway. It looks like McLean Agrette, he will be the first shooter for the Erie Otters. We're just waiting for this snow cleaning attempt again.
We're both being blamed now, eh?
We're both being blamed in the chat.
Yeah.
I think if we've learned anything from tonight's broadcast, when people are writing in the chat certain words, we just don't repeat it.
Yes, we ignore.
But I'm pretty sure it was Tammy that said the shutout word for Jaswal.
Yeah, she started. She even says, I blame both of you for saying what I said.
There's the evidence right there.
Well, then poor Alexander thought it was his fault.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we can tell you the shootout now underway. Agrette picking up the puck at center ice. He's going to weave wide on his forehand. Agrette, backhand, forehand, but did too much because he lost the handle.
Maybe we need the snow shovels back out.
Oh, my goodness. No more shovels. So the Barrie Colts, they're going to go with Kayshawn Aitchison. So Aitchison, the first shooter here for the Barrie Colts. The boos rain from the Erie Insurance Arena as Aitchison with some speed shot scores. Kayshawn Aitchison flying on goal, finds the back of the net, and the Colts have the advantage.
Well, I think road teams are going to have to start making a rule that you don't boo Kayshawn Aitchison because he loves it.
So Michael Deck, he's going to be the next shooter here for Erie. Deck weaving his way into the attacking zone. Shot stopped by Jaswal. Jaswal read that one all the way. The Barrie Colts' second shooter will be Emil Hemming, and he can win it here for the Barrie Colts. They have the advantage. So Emil Hemming carrying this one in. He's going to go wide on net. Hemming, shot scores! And that will do it. The Barrie Colts, they have won this one in a shootout by a final score of 3-2. And that's a big victory here for the Barrie Colts.
Well, for a shootout preparation that took so long, it was a shootout. The actual shootout went as quick as possible there.
Well, I think the shootout was a lot faster than the snow shoveling.
Well, we were in and out there in about 40 seconds. I mean, nice job by the Barrie Colts. Arvin Jaswal, he only had to make one save because of the stick malfunction there with Argette. And then Kayshawn Aitchison and Emil Hemming both with nice wrist shots to beat Noah Erliden. And Barrie Colts, big 2 points there. They're now up by 4 in the Central Division on the North Bay Battalion, and then another big divisional matchup tomorrow against the Niagara Ice Dogs.
So a huge victory here for the Barrie Colts. It was getting a little dicey there in the final stages of the third period because the Barrie Colts, 2-0 was their advantage going to the third period. They were dominating in that second frame, but the Erie Otters, they got some momentum. They got 2 unanswered in that third period. Dylan Edwards is a big factor there for the Erie Otters to get them back into this hockey game. ended up going to a shootout. But what can you say about Arvin Jaswal tonight?
Yeah, he was fantastic. 38 saves on 40 shots. Another fantastic performance for Jaswal. And his last start, Kayshawn Aitchison told me we don't win without him. And I think that might be another example of it here tonight. The Barrie Colts wouldn't have won this game if it wasn't for a few big saves by Arvin Jaswal. I think the worst moments of the game for the Barrie Colts was late in the second period. Couple bad giveaways set up some really good opportunities for the Colts, and Jaswal was able to stop every shot there in the second.
So they're just announcing the 3 stars of the game here at the Erie Insurance Arena. Your 3 stars presented by Craighurst Crossing, by Georgian Communities, New Homes, minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm. So your 3 stars tonight, Kayshawn Aitchison, he's your 3rd star. He had 1 assist in the game, but scored in the shootout, so gets the shootout winner in that regard. 2nd star, no surprise from the Erie Otters, Dylan Edwards. He had a goal, and really, he was the one that set the tone there in the 3rd period for Erie to get even back into this hockey game. And 1st star, I think our chat has called it. It's Arvin Jaswal, 38 saves tonight. He is your 1st star. Jaswal, sensational, coming back into action here tonight as the Barrie Colts get a big 3-2 victory here on the road.
I noticed as well the rock, paper, scissors for last off the ice is back for the Colts. It was Baudouin versus Asadorian, and Alex Asadorian is last off the ice tonight. Is post-game chuck a puck. Oh, no.
Well, they do things differently in Erie.
We
but
saw hungry hippos at intermission. So
yeah, well, they change it up. I think it's kind of fun the way they're doing it here. They got a bucket at center ice, the helmet trying to get a puck into. But this game, they've now extended their point streak to 11 games. This Barrie Colts team has turned it around since that 6-game losing streak. As you mentioned, they're now 4 points up on the North Bay Battalion for 1st in the Central Division. And now you have a big 4-point game tomorrow night at the Meridian Center against the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Well, you're facing an Ice Dog team that's struggling right now, and you can really stick it to them tomorrow night. But you got to bring your A game. The Barrie Colts, they got outshot tonight by the Erie Otters. They got outplayed the other night by the Sudbury Wolves. They have to bring a really strong game tomorrow because this Ice Dogs team, they just lost 5-0 to Brantford. That's a pretty embarrassing loss when you're trying to compete as one of the best teams in the OHL to lose 5-0 like that. So they're going to be pretty motivated to come out, play a really strong game tomorrow as well. Last time these two teams faced each other, the Ice Dogs blew a 5-1 lead. So they have a ton of motivation going into tomorrow night to beat the Colts.
And of course, former Barrie Colts, Riley Patterson and Grayson Tiller. We'll see them tomorrow up in the Meridian Center. But that's it for us here from Erie Insurance Arena. The Barrie Colts with a 3-2 victory in a shootout over the Erie Otters. Want to thank everybody who participated in the chat tonight. It's been so much fun seeing everyone involved in the broadcast. We really appreciate it as we continue to bring these games to you, the Barrie Colts fans. And yeah, we're ready for a trip back across the border. We're going back to Canada.
Yeah, right back. A day in the U.S. and then we'll head back tomorrow. We'll probably investigate some stuff in Erie tomorrow morning.
We gotta fill some time.
We gotta see what's going on around town.
So, anyways, for Josh McCann, I'm Mike Poirier saying so long. It's a 3-2 final, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Live stream gets underway at 6:45. Puck drop is at 7.